Hello, good evening. Welcome to News 360 on TV3, coming to you live from our studio here at Adisawe Kanda in Accra. I am Martin Asiedudate.
My name is Grace Hamwajiman. Coming up tonight.
News 360 headlines is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint,
Pepsodent Charcoal and Pepsodent Herbal,
EcoBank, Nero Prime Water.
Brace yourself to pay more for water and electricity from January 2026 as Public Utilities Regulatory Commission announces hikes in tariffs. Meanwhile, TUC slams government over new tariff increases.
Also tonight, government preparing a new legal instrument to establish a comprehensive long-term framework for mineral royalties in Ghana.
Later tonight, we tell you why the Ghana Medical Association is pushing back against claims doctors are refusing to take up postings, citing real health system challenges requiring urgent action to retain doctors.
Later in business, financial economist warns Ghana's sustained disinflation presents a double-edged sword as inflation hits lowest rate since 2021 at 6.3% in November.
And on the international front, President Donald Trump's nominee to lead NASA, billionaire private astronaut Jared Isaacman, touts his plans to put U.S. astronauts back on the moon before China gets there.
We have details of all these stories and more. We always love to hear from you on the many stories we have for you tonight, so do send your messages in.
Let's begin the bulletin from here. The Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, PURC, has defended the recent tariff adjustment, asserting that they were not implemented at the expense of consumers. Effective January 2026, tariffs will rise by 9.86% across all customer categories, while water tariffs will see a 15.92% increase over the 5-year control period. This will be the fourth time the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, PURC, has announced a tariff review this year, though it will take effect in 2026. The Commission argues that the adjustments are necessary to meet the investment requirement of utility providers, ensure industry competitiveness, and safeguard consumer interests.
So if the Commission in its wisdom is able to scale it down from 225% to 9.68%, considering the investments that have to be made for the sector to be afloat, I don't think that the Commission has not taken into consideration the concerns of consumers.
If government will increase it and make it available for everybody, why not? They will increase, then the water is not flowing. That year is not good.
Some people do not pay the light and water bills, so when increased, we will all pay to help the government pay workers. When prices of goods are low, the increments will not really affect our business.
It affects goods and services, whatever, because people who are also producing goods and services who use electricity may want to add the cost to the prices of their goods.
The increments will affect our business, but what we want government to do is to reconsider the increment.
Director, Research and Corporate Affairs at the PURC, Dr. Eric Obute, says the Commission will ensure efficiency to protect consumers.
Of late, the service quality has improved considerably. If you take the power situation, for instance, the lights have been on consistently. So we cannot say that the power system has not improved, or we cannot say that the service quality has not improved. The collection for ECG, for instance, was around 45%. Now they've moved to 87%. Now we need to do minor adjustments to make sure that we keep the tariff at this particular benchmark over the period.
Since May 2025, electricity tariffs have gone up by 18.34%, while water tariffs stood at 4.02%.
Meanwhile, the Trades Union Congress, that's the TUC, has expressed outrage over the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission's announcement of a 9.8% increase in electricity tariffs and 15.9% increase for water tariff effective the 1st of January 2026. In a statement signed by the Secretary General, Joshua Ansah, the TUC described the timing of the increase coinciding with the government's 9% minimum wage and base pay increase as a New Year's gift that undermines workers' gains. In 2025, the government had implemented a 10% wage increase alongside cumulative electricity tariff hikes, which exceeded 18%. The TUC says the 9% wage adjustment for 2026 has effectively been nullified by the new utility price increase, leaving workers struggling under rising living conditions. Let's go to the phone lines now. Joshua Ansah has joined us. He is the Trades Union Secretary, General Secretary. Thank you for your time, sir, and good evening to you. Hello, Mr. Ansah, can you hear me? Right, we just want to get some further clarity on the specifics of what the TUC is saying regarding the latest release by the PURC, which is the new tariff they've just announced, which will take effect from the 1st of January 2026. The TUC has raised concerns about it, saying that it actually wipes out the increment that was given to them by government, some 9% increment. And in the statement which was signed by Joshua Ansah, the Secretary General, the TUC says that the timing of this increase coincides with government's 9% minimum wage, which they believe has been wiped out by the new increment. Mr. Joshua Ansah hopefully has joined us. We hope we have a better connection. Mr. Ansah, good evening. Thank you for joining us on TV3.
Good evening.
Right. To start with, were you consulted by the TUC? Were you part of the stakeholder groupings that the PURC met before coming up with these new tariffs?
Thank you very much, and good evening to your listeners and your viewers. My sister, the truth is that TUC was one of the stakeholders, we attended one of the stakeholders' consultation, and we requested at that time that we needed a full documentation on the intended increases that the utility services are bent on doing. As I'm speaking to you today, we have not received any document on that. So it was, I can say that it was an inconclusive discussions. And whilst waiting for the document, then we have actually received this with shock and surprise that the tariffs have been increased.
Right. So based on what you've said in your statement, you, in as much as you appreciate the fact that there was a 9% increment in the minimum wage, you believe that this new tariff increment effective 1st January 2026 will technically wipe out what gains you are making with the minimum wage. Is that the position you're putting across?
Exactly. Even one person will know that if you award 9% salary increase, and you also come out with an increase in tariffs for 9% and the 15% respectively, then, the 9% is now going to cost zero. And we think that this is unacceptable to us, and we are going to have a press conference on Monday, and our position will be declared to the whole world.
Yeah, but Mr. Ansah, it was expected that there would be utility tariff increments, wasn't there? Was TUC not expecting it? And if so, what percentage were you thinking government or PURC should have put out?
So we think that in a proper consultations and discussions, both parties must sit and agree on something before it is pronounced. But you cannot just unilaterally come up with the percentage of your choice. Meanwhile, discussions are still ongoing. So I don't know why they are rushing in doing that. And our position is that this cannot be accepted by workers of this country, and you will do everything to ensure that it doesn't happen in this country.
Right.
You cannot give us 9% and award 9% the tax increases. Don't start the same thing.
All right, Mr. Ansa, we know that
Yes,
we would have to leave it here. Like you say, Monday you'll be putting your position across quite forcefully. We'll be bringing that to our viewers as well. Thank you for speaking to us on TV3.
Thank you so much.
And we go on to some other stories now this evening.
Right, the Ghana Medical Association is pushing back against claims that newly posted doctors are refusing to take up postings, insisting that the situation is driven by real and persistent challenges within the health system and not defiance. The association says these challenges, including accommodation, accessibility, and others, must be urgently addressed to motivate doctors to accept and remain at the assigned stations.
A troubling trend in Ghana's healthcare system is once again making headlines as a nationwide posting exercise exposes deepening cracks in the sector. 7 out of every 10 medical officers recently deployed across the country, according to data from the Ghana Health Service, have failed to report to their assigned post. Out of 463 newly posted doctors, 305 have not shown up. In the northern, Upper East and Upper West regions, not a single medical officer has reported for duty. This is unfolding at a time when Ghana is already struggling with a long-standing imbalance in the distribution of health professionals. Current data shows that over 80% of the nation's doctors remain concentrated in just 2 regions, the Ashanti and Greater Accra regions. The health minister has since given the newly posted doctors 1 week to report to work.
We will give them 1 more week to report to their various health facilities. We have nearly 50% of all medical doctors we have in this country in Greater Accra alone. It's not scary.
Health experts warn that the disparities are widening, raising urgent concerns about service delivery, equitable access to health care, and the country's overall health system stability. What is keeping the doctors away? General Secretary of the Ghana Medical Association, Dr. Richard Sellerman, maintains that the narrative suggesting that doctors are refusing posting is inaccurate.
The fact that the person has not reported does not mean that the person has refused posting. So I think that needs to be corrected. This posting just happened just barely, I think 2 weeks or so ago. Some have committed themselves to certain engagements to feed, to be able to live, and they have to disengage. It's also important to note that some have also reported and have been told there's no accommodation.
He wants the Ministry of Health and relevant authorities to address these underlying concerns if the situation is to improve.
So, for example, if you were posted to, for example, Boku, where there are serious security concerns, you will need some assurances of how safe you are to be able to provide the care. If you have been also told, for example, that there is no accommodation available, you will need some assurances of where you are going to stay so that you can respond to emergencies at the middle of the night, etc. And so these discussions must happen, and that is what we are appealing, that beyond just issuing the fiat, it is important that conversations like this happen, and those that have certain genuine concerns, we address those issues so that they can go. So it is not a matter of they've refused, they've not refused, and they don't want to go, and what is that?
Concerns have been raised about the centralization of postings from Accra, and experts have called for the decentralization of the system to enable districts and regions to undertake the recruitment and postings of doctors, as they are better aware of the situations prevailing in their areas.
In more news this evening, the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources has announced that government is preparing a new legal instrument that will establish a comprehensive long-term framework for mineral royalties in Ghana. Speaking at a press conference, Emmanuel Amakofiboa said that the new guideline, developed in collaboration with the Office of the Attorney General, will cover all mineral resources, including lithium.
Currently, the applicable royalty rate for mining operation, including lithium, as you know, he said, as you know, set or stated by law, and what is in the books right now. And let me talk about the history of this amendment that has happened. There was an initial royalty rate of 3 to 6%. It was amended and was stated that royalty will be at 5%. And then there was another amendment that says that it will be by an act as applicable by law. What was missing was that the instrument that should guide that applicable by law was never in place. And so, technically speaking, what you could refer to was the original one, which says that 5%. I'm very happy to inform you that we've worked closely with the Attorney General, who will be coming to, once we finish your cabinet, will be coming to Parliament with a new instrument that will permanently lay a complete, comprehensive guideline on royalties, not only in the lithium sector, but in all minerals. And there has been a lot of argument. Some people were arguing that, oh, when we negotiated a price at $3,000, the royalty was at 10%. I can tell you that what the sliding scale we are doing here is going to probably ensure even a more beneficial approach, because we foresee, for example, that at $3,000, we are not only going to achieve the 10% royalty, as has been negotiated, but we are also putting in mechanisms that when the prices go beyond 3,000, we'll go beyond 10%, and we'll go to 11% on others. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I think I wanted to let the people of Ghana know that this government will not shortchange the people of Ghana.
Let's do some more stories now, because 3 months after President John Mahama first visited the Ofankwan-Sawam Road project, he has expressed satisfaction with the progress of work, assuring Ghanaians that he will not abandon the project despite plans to commence the Accra-Kumasi Express Highway. Inspecting the road project, he has given a firm commitment that his 4-year term will see significant completion of major road projects, opening up the country for business.
When you came to office, the distress that this road caused the public and the concern, you directed that the finance minister carry out whatever he can do to make sure this contractor is paid. Indeed, that has been paid. And I must say that the contractor has significantly worked, done a lot of work. And this is also part of the existing Accra-Kumasi Highway. So, Your Excellency, your big push is already yielding results, and we believe that you will leave a legacy that all Ghanaians will be proud of.
Exactly 90 days ago, I was here because of the outcry from the traveling public about the nature of this particular stretch of road of Ofankwan-Sawam. When we came, we met a road that was moving at a snail pace, and there were many constraints associated with what was happening. But the major one was non-payment for work done for a very long time. And so, of course, I ordered the road minister and the finance minister to make sure that payment was made to the contractor. And so more than $70 million was paid to the contractor. And I promised that I'll come back after 3 months to come and see the progress of work that has been done. Today is exactly 3 months since I last came here. And I'm quite impressed with the progress that has been made. We've not abandoned this alignment. This alignment will still be available for road users, but we're going to invest in a new expressway that will take people to Kumasi faster than this old one has done. I'll urge the contractor to continue to push hard. The last time I came, he assured us that by July next year, he'll be able to hand over the road. But if I look at the progress being made, I'm sure that by April next year, if you guys push hard, you'll be able to finish this road and hand it over.
In more news this evening, as part of measures to restore peace and stability in Boko and Binduri general areas, the Ghana Armed Forces has deployed high-powered drones. The drones, which fly the skies day and night, are part of a new operational effort to detect threats in real time for appropriate action. There's more in this report by Castro Senyala, our Upper East regional correspondent.
The deployment of the drones is part of ongoing efforts by the Ghana Armed Forces to restore peace and stability in the Boko and Binduri areas of the Upper East region. These areas have, for some time now, experienced violent attacks leading to deaths and the destruction of property. With the ability to stay airborne for extended periods, the drones are helping the military detect threats in real time for swift and appropriate responses. During a working visit by the Army's Northern General Officer Commanding, Brigadier General Walanyo Agwebo, to one of the drone operational centers at the Boku Police Station, the commanding officer of the 93 Signal Regiment, Lieutenant Colonel Benjamin Eje, briefed the team.
Mentioned by the ATF commander, there's some bit of tension as to on the uncertainty from the verdict. So we will continue to monitor the situation. We also had a team on standby at the disposal of the ATF commander in case of anything, also rushing to give them support.
In addition to the drone deployment, the military has also expanded its operations in the Boko and Binduri areas and created new military checkpoints.
We don't want anything untoward to happen. That is why we are here. As we went around, you could see that we have a lot of checkpoints, military checkpoints. This is to research vehicles and what have you. Now, we have reinforced the whole unit over here with so many men from other units to ensure that whatever happens, we should be in control.
As the military continues its efforts to restore peace and stability, it has called on residents of Boko and Binduri to embrace peace.
We have special forces that are on the ground. We have a lot of drones that are also on the ground, and we are using the drones to monitor movement in the whole of Boko general area. So you cannot hide. We have come very far as this peace in Boko is concerned. They should just abide by that, because anything that happens after that in terms of firing will meet force with heavier force.
The tribal chieftaincy conflict has heavily affected socio-economic activities in the once vibrant town of Boko. Castro Sinyala, TV3 News, Boko.
Let's move away from the military now, and some national service personnel are growing agitated over delayed postings and issues of document mismatches. Although there have been several interventions by the National Service Authority, NSA, some personnel are yet to know their fate. There's more in this report by Samuel Yeboah Adams.
Despite weeks of interventions from fresh registrations and regional validations to an emergency gazette service meant to resolve recruitment, meant to resolve document errors, many graduates say they are still stuck in limbo. While 85,159 service personnel have already been posted, thousands remain uncertain about their fate. There have been issues of mismatched records and technical glitches that have left many anxious and unable to plan their next steps.
Submitted an assurance letter for I think about a month and some weeks ago, and till date it hasn't reflected on the portal. Yeah, and it's actually like not giving me any hope that I might get reposted to the particular place or not.
I wish it was like the old system, because I had a friend who has done a NSS. The old system was, if you had issue, they created a different portal for them to be able to register, which made things simple.
All we've been coming here to do is follow up. They keep saying that they will address it and we have to wait.
The Director General of the National Service Authority, Ruth Delacedo, attributed the delays to a new system being rolled out to eliminate ghost names.
151,000 potential personnel applied, but unfortunately, of course, because of the systems we have put in place and ensuring that ghost names become a thing of the past, so far we've been able to authenticate 94,000 personnel who we have already deployed. People have started going to their job sites. Some of them have started working. The process is ongoing.
She assured personnel that the authority is working to ensure all of them are posted
Let me just use your platform to assure every potential personnel that you will be posted. There's no way you're not going to be posted. We want to be strategic on how to post these people. There are some of them with very peculiar experience and academic path, and we want to liaise with the appropriate agencies so that we don't throw talents away.
On the military training for service personnel, she said more people have applied than anticipated.
Even with the military training, we've also had over 12,000 personnel choosing it. And so I'm happy we've had more than the expected number. So I can assure you the president is so keen on it, is so expectant that we'll get it done, and he's ready to come on board.
The minority in parliament says the government is on a witch-hunting spree to remove heads of independent state institutions. Gushegu Member of Parliament Alhassan Tampuli says that the petitions against the special prosecutor are made up. Meanwhile, the Medina Member of Parliament has criticized the OSP for inviting Martin Pebu for some accusations against the special prosecutor.
According to NPP MP for Gushegu Alhassan Tampuli, who was debating the budget estimate for the Office of the Special Prosecutor, said the current petition seeking to remove the Special Prosecutor is unfounded. But the Majority Chief Whip fired back. Listen to what happened on the floor.
About 3 petitions as of today have been referred to the President for the removal of the Special Prosecutor. Mr. Speaker, this comes on the heels of the removal of the Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana. Mr. Speaker, next on the agenda is the removal of the EC. Something is happening in this country, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, something is happening in this country. If we are minded to fight corruption, we should be hesitant in the way and manner that we are attacking Office of Accountability.
Mr. Speaker, there's no way the government is pursuing anybody out of office. There's no way. That cannot be a statement of fact on this floor. Citizens have rights to petition, and they must have done that. It does not constitute a removal. So don't make that suggestion. We are approving the estimates for next year's operations for the Office of the Special Prosecutor, not the Special Prosecutor. So this attempt to malign government at the slightest opportunity must not be countenanced.
NDC MP for Medina, Francis Xavier Sosu, also criticized the OSP for inviting private legal practitioner Martin Pebu for questioning over some public claims against the special prosecutor. He, however, commended the office for several investigations it has done, which he said had saved the country millions of cedis.
The fact that the Office of Special Prosecutor is doing the best they can within their mandate does not mean that citizens and individuals who have issues about how the special prosecutor is operating cannot come out to speak against them. So I was worried when people like Martin Pebu, for example, was invited to the special prosecutor because he was on TV raising some allegations. These are things I believe that the special prosecutor must work on to shaping the perception or the public perception that is currently championing or that is currently moving or sweeping the office of the special prosecutor away.
Meanwhile, NPP MP for Menchia South, Nana Ejebafo Ewua, says the Office of Special Prosecutor has completely deviated from the purpose for which it was set up.
When the Office of the Special Prosecutor was being promulgated, when it was being discussed in this House, Mr. Speaker, one thing and only one thing can be the sum of the role for which the office was created: protection of the public purse. The office has deviated its course of protecting the public purse. Mr. Speaker, complete deviation.
And news just coming in indicates that the Office of the Special Prosecutor has detained private legal practitioner Martin Pebu. You would recall that a few days ago, Martin Pebu made some allegations against the special prosecutor, on the back of which he was invited. He attended upon the OSP and some disagreements came up, and he needed to come back. He was asked to go and come back. He returned again, and today we are hearing that he has been detained. And for many of you who've been following the story, you'd recall that as we speak, 3 petitions have been submitted to the president for the removal of the OSP. Martin Pebu, the private legal practitioner, indicated also that he was going to submit his petition for the removal of the OSP today to the president. But we are yet to know whether he was able to successfully file that petition to the office of the president. However, just a few minutes ago, we are told that he has been detained by the OSP and his lawyers are unable to reach him after entering the premises and the office of the OSP. So we'll keep very close tabs on this development and update you subsequently.
You're still watching News 360 on TV3. We're back with more stories after this break. Stay with us.
Welcome back to News 360. Let's take a step back to our earlier story, which has to do with the detention of Martin Kpebu, private legal practitioner, when he attended the office of the special prosecutor. We are told that when he went in, his whereabouts currently is unknown. Joining us now is Marcellinus Bia, one of the lawyers of Martin Kpebu. Good evening, sir, and thank you for your time.
Yes, good evening, and thank you too.
What do you know about Martin Kpebu's, well, for lack of a better expression, disappearance? We are told that he went to the office of the special prosecutor, but has since not returned, and you're unable to hear from him. What do you know?
Yes, that is entirely correct. So this afternoon at about 2 o'clock, we attended to the invitation of the office of the special prosecutor to assist them in investigations. So while we were in the premises, Martin granted an interview outside the premises of the office of the special prosecutor and returned. So it appears that one of the officers, that is a police officer on at the date, was not too happy with Martin granting an interview outside the premises of the office of the special prosecutor. Martin actually challenged him that no, there was nothing wrong with him granting an interview and subsequently attending to the inquiry. And so there was some amount of altercation verbal exchange between him and then the officer. Thereafter, Martin proceeded to attend to the inquiry committee. So while we were having discussions with the inquiry committee, in the course of that, they told Martin that he had actually obstructed an officer of the special prosecutor, and for that matter, he was going to be charged. Meanwhile, let me be quick to add that when the altercation took place, Martin was first to even request to make a complaint against the third officer. But we were told that the complaint center was not available to take our complaint. So Martin proceeded to the inquiry board or committee and presented a complaint before them. He also insisted that that matter should be dealt with even before we could attend to the substantive matter. So we were quite surprised that in the course of the proceedings, the officers went down, up and down, came back and told us that Martin was under arrest because they had gone to investigate the matter. It appears that Martin was rather the one at fault. And for that matter, they were charging him with the offense of obstructing an officer of the special prosecutor.
Right.
That's the charge. Yes.
Okay.
So eventually they said he was going to be admitted to bail in the tune of a landed property in his personal name. You can imagine, obstructing an officer is obstructing a bail condition of landed property in the person's own name. In addition to that, he was to present one surety. So I quickly ride back to the office, which is just about 10 minutes drive, to pick a landed property, the documents to his landed property, return with one surety, only to be told that Martin has been whisked away to an unspecified location. All attempts to know where Martin is as of now is not being fruitful. So that's actually where we are.
Okay. Thank you for that update, and we are grateful that you made time to speak to us. Marcellinus Bia is one of the lawyers of private legal practitioner Martin Kpebu, whose whereabouts currently is unknown, and that was after he attended upon the OSP, and we are told he's been detained. So we would update you subsequently. Especially, you should make a date with Ghana tonight at 10 p.m. They will be digging deeper into this particular issue. Stay with us. We have the latest in the world of business for you.
The business segment is brought to you by MTN. Touch concentrated perfume. Good evening. Welcome to Business on News 360. I am Minu Aful.
Financial economist and a senior fellow at Africa Policy Lens, Dr. Eric Boakye-Yiadom, has observed that the 6.3% inflation rate recorded for November 2025 was generally expected and presents both opportunities and challenges that need to be addressed. The 6.3% rate of inflation marks the 11th straight month of disinflation and is the lowest rate since the rebasing in 2021.
Inflation plunges to 6.3% in November, a significant drop from 8% in October, a four-year low, marking one of the nation's most sustained periods of price slowdown. Government statistician Dr. Alhassan Idrisu has issued key recommendations for households, businesses, and the government to capitalize on the sustained period of falling inflation.
For households to plan with more confidence, this is a good time to budget carefully, avoid unnecessary spending, and set aside whatever savings are possible. For businesses, this is an ideal moment to strengthen operational efficiency. Lower and stable inflation offers space to refine supply chains, invest in productivity, reduce waste, and build stronger links with local producers. For government, continue with the fiscal discipline, as that is very essential.
A senior fellow at Africa Policy Lens, Dr. Eric Boakye-Yiadom, noted the sustained disinflation provides the central bank with wider scope to continue cutting the monetary policy rate.
It contributes to the government agenda in achieving price stability, and there's a relatively increase in household income as prices generally are stable or falling.
The key challenge is preventing a rebound.
A farmer will buy farm input at a relatively high cost, prepare the ground. By the time the garden eggs is ready, you go to the market and you sell. You are unable to make enough money to pay for your cost of input. We have more food on the market, which is causing the price to fall. The producers will be losing out. The farmers will be losing out. That if farmers are unable to get adequate funding for the next crop season, inflation that we've been trying to fight, we may end up defeating that purpose. So we need to find a way of improving storage system for farmers who may not want to sell now, so that when prices are relatively good and they can recover their cost of production, it can go to the market.
Now, since 2010, Trade Mart has built a reputation for providing quality and affordable appliances to its customers in Ghana. With increasing demand, especially ahead of the Christmas season, the company is expanding once again, opening a new branch at Spintex to better serve its growing customer base.
For the past 15 years, Trade Mart has remained a trusted name in Ghana's retail space, offering consumers durable and budget-friendly home appliances. The company started operations at Jowolo, later added a branch at West Legon, and has now extended its footprint with a new outlet at Spintex.
Trade Mart began with the vision of Mr. Hossam Haidar that IT should reach every customer in their homes. We have our delivery services. We have 30 days or even 90 days of payment when you come. Our service, after sales service, is top notch.
Trade Mart says its commitment is to deliver quality products, stock trusted global brands, and provide excellent customer service.
We supply laptops, desktops, printers, toners, appliances. We have TVs, we have fridges, we have air conditioners, we have, name it, everything. We have software, we sell servers, we have switches, we have Microsoft license, we do phones, we do networking, installation, and everything. Trade Mart is known for our quality products. We are known for our delivery. We are known for our after-sales service. We are equally known for our good relationship we keep with the customers. We are there for the customers. We understand them, and then we make sure we are delivering exactly what the customer wants.
Trade Mart is encouraging Ghanaians to take advantage of its wide range of affordable and high-quality appliances, especially as the festive season approaches.
We'll end the segment here with updates from the forex and commodities markets. I am Minu Afo.
When you're going to buy a paint, don't look left, don't look right. Go straight and grab the luxury and luxury.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the sports segment here on News 360. My name is Bill Ishen. Now, Division 2 side, True Life FC pulled off a remarkable upset in the Ghana FA Cup round of 64, knocking out Ghana Premier League giants Hartlepool with a 1-0 victory at the Pobman Training Center. A composed second-half strike from Ahing, beautifully set up by Robert Nate after a slick one-touch move, proved decisive and sent the visiting side into the round of 32. Despite dominating possession for long spells, the Phobians struggled to unlock True Life FC's compact and disciplined defensive setup. After the break, Hearts threw on key attackers Hamza Issa, George Parku, Hussein Mohammed and Amankwa Befi in search of a breakthrough, but the lower tier side held firm. So a very big shock as Division 2 side has knocked out Hartlefolk from the MTN FA Cup round of 64. Of course, in other results, we saw, of course, Vision FC also being knocked out by Atram Divise in the MTN FA Cup. But also, the Black Queens closed out their 2025 season with a performance full of character and promise, even in defeat to England. At the St. Mary's Park, Ghana showed a new level of confidence under coach Kim Bjorkegren, a sign of how far the team has come this year. This is how it all unfolded.
The Black Queens of Ghana wrapped up the 2024 football season with a spirited display despite a 2-0 defeat to the Lionesses of England at the St. Mary's Park. The Europeans scored a goal in each half through Lucia Kendall and Alicia Russo, but the performance from Ghana offered plenty to admire. The Queens were led by head coach Kim Bjorkegren, who took charge in March after Nora Upla's contract expired in December 2024. Since his appointment, the former Racing Louisville manager has transformed the team's trajectory, guiding Ghana to a third-place finish at the WAFCON in Morocco and securing qualification for the next edition with back-to-back wins over Egypt. Despite falling short against England, the Black Queens showed clear signs of growth, competing confidently against the reigning European champions, a display that left Bjorkegren pleased.
As a coach, you always want to win, of course, but in the same time, we need to have in our mind that we are right now 67 in the ranking, and we're playing against England, that is potentially right now the best team in the world, and we do it in an away game. We are standing up, we are fighting for 90 minutes. I think that we can be really proud how we was performing in the game, how hard the girls worked.
One of the brightest performers on the night was Summertex ladies goalkeeper Cynthia Conlan, who produced 7 crucial saves. Her outstanding effort did not go unnoticed, earning high praise from the coach.
I think it's so weird, actually, that no one really had picked her. I know that.
That's it for the sports segment here on News 360. My name is Bill Shen. There's more on the bulletin after this break.
Well, good evening and welcome to the Entertainment News segment here on News360. My name is Noella Donko. Now, Ghanaian music superstar Black Sherif has once again affirmed his status as the country's leading voice, dominating the 2025 Spotify rap charts. Now, for the third consecutive year, he tops the list of most streamed Ghanaian artists in Ghana, with his tracks occupying 9 of the top 10 spots in the most streamed songs category. Now, his hit single, Sacrifice, emerged as the most streamed song in Ghana this year, quickly becoming a daily anthem for many. Now, the track was also recognized as the most shared song nationwide, highlighting how deeply Black Sherif's music resonates with everyday life in Ghana. Other songs in the top 10 including Sumobi, So It Goes, Top of the Morning, Lord I'm Amazed, Dreamer, I Open, and the Victory Song further underscore his dominance. Now, Spotify notes that the tracks like So It Goes, Sumobi, and Lord I'm Amazed have become companions for young Ghanaians navigating challenges, blending themes of faith, perseverance, and hope. And also some more stories. Bad Bunny reclaimed his spot as Spotify's most streamed artist globally in 2025, generating more than 19.8 billion streams on the platform throughout the year. The achievement sees him reclaim the position back from Taylor Swift, who held the title for 2 consecutive years in 2023 and 2024. Taylor Swift achieved more than 26.6 billion streams globally on Spotify in 2024 and 26.1 billion on the platform in 2023. Superstar Puerto Rican rapper and singer Bad Bunny previously dominated the platform from 2020 to 2022, making this his 4th time reaching the top spot. Well, that's it for the Entertainment News segment here on News360. My name is Noella Donko.
Right, thank you very much, Noella, letting us know what's happening in the world of entertainment. You're still on News360 live from our studio here at Adisawe Kanda in Accra. And the breaking news that came a few minutes ago has to do with the fact that private legal practitioner Martin Kpebu is his current location is unknown, and it comes on the back of the fact that he attended upon an invitation by the special prosecutor, and upon agreeing on that invitation and honoring it, his whereabouts is unknown. As we speak, one of his lawyers who went to the premises with him has confirmed to us that he was asked to bring a surety and a bail condition of a landed property in the name of Martin Kpebu, and this happened after a police officer at the premises of the OSP prevented or asked Martin Kpebu not to grant an interview within the premises or within the precincts of the OSP's office. And that has gone degenerated into other issues, and he has been since arrested. And following the arrest, we are told that the lawyers returned but are unable to tell where Martin Kpebu has been sent to. The word the lawyer for Martin Kpebu used was that he has been whisked away. Where to, we are all unable to tell. So let's try and find out what exactly this means. And Andy Apiakubi is a private legal practitioner, former member of parliament, and he's joined us on phone for a quick conversation. Mr. Apiakubi, good evening. Thank you for your time.
Good evening, my brother.
Is it usual? Yes, I hope you can hear me. My question to you would be, what are your initial thoughts, first of all, on the fact that the special prosecutor invites Martin Kpebu, he honors the invitation, and issues come up, but we are told that his whereabouts is currently unknown. What do you make of this current development?
Good evening to your cherished listeners and viewers. It is very unfortunate that
Hello, Mr. Apiakubi. We seem to be having a problem with the connection to lawyer Apia Kubi, who was just about sharing a thought on what exactly he thought about the current development of Martin Kpebu's whereabouts. He was at the office of the special prosecutor, but we are told that they are unable to tell where he currently is. We are working the lines to see if we can even get some information from the OSP, at least if they can also confirm to us what exactly has happened, but we are unable to get that connection. However, we're trying to get some better understanding of what all of this means for us as a country, our legal jurisprudence. What exactly does this mean? Mr. Piakubi, I'm told, has joined us on a better connection, hopefully. Mr. Piakubi, so you were telling us about how this is an unfortunate development.
But it is improper to civilians with police force to discriminate, arrest, and detention as a result of a proper drafting of the law. And indeed, he had the opportunity to reach out to see that the power might have been confirmed because now chief executives.
Right. Well, you're still watching TV3. This is an extended coverage of, well, not necessarily a coverage, but we are extending News 360 because of news we are getting this evening having to do with the fact that we are unable to tell where Martin Kpebu is. Hopefully,
In fact, the lawyers must go application for habeas corpus on the self of the OSP for him to provide the person of Martin Kpebu immediately to the court of law. Because legislators ought to be careful how they legislate, because the state authorities ought to state in the abuse of the laws. My prescription is that lawyers must go to court tomorrow early morning with a habeas corpus application and move it as party for the orders to be so granted. It cannot be a case that anybody can just arrest because he thinks that somebody has spoken about him or somebody has done something against his will. It cannot be a case. So the lawyers must file an application immediately tomorrow morning and seek the orders of the court for Martin to be brought to the court for his release.
Right. Mr. Piakubi, the line, we are actually struggling to have clarity in the line that we have, this connection that we have to you. Hopefully we can, adjust it so we can hear you clearly. But the news we are bringing to our viewers is that Martin Kpebu, private legal practitioner, currently we are unable to tell where he is, but it is on the back of an altercation, we are told, broke out at the office of the special prosecutor, where Martin Kpebu is said to have obstructed an officer, a police officer at the premises of the OSP. What happened was a lawyer who went to the premises of the OSP with Martin Kpebu told us a few minutes ago that when Martin Kpebu finished the conversation he had with the OSP and was out, he was granting an interview where a police officer within the premises said that he could not do that. And so they had a disagreement, and that on the back of that, Martin Kpebu was told that he had been arrested and was supposed to provide a landed property with one surety. The lawyer says he managed to get those documentations and brought it to the OSP, but upon arrival, he was unable to see or he was unable to know or find Martin Kpebu in the office of the special prosecutor. Let's go to the phone lines again and speak to another lawyer, Duncan Amoa, who is also Executive Director of COPEG. Mr. Amoa, good evening and thank you for your time.
Martin,
Yes.
good evening and thank you for having me.
Great. I'm sure this is a subject that you've also been following quite closely. What are your initial submissions on it?
Martin, I think we are degenerating rather too fast as a country. And I think that the earlier the OSC is told truth to the face that Ghana is not some military dictatorship that you just detain people anyhow, even without proper or just cause. What lawyer Martin Kpebu has sought to do over the years, for which we all stand for similar principles, is to probably ask for accountability, equity, fairness, and I don't think Martin Kpebu should be treated the way Kisi Ejabin and the OSP, Office of the Special Prosecutor, is currently treating him. Most Ghanaians are fuming as I speak with you. It is beginning to sound as though we've handed a certain power, even beyond the powers of the president, to a certain office that has now taken upon itself the powers higher than the High Court. They can actually invite you and then decide to detain you anyhow at will. And I don't think that this is what the framers of the 1992 Constitution envisaged, that we will create institutions, and these institutions would then even become way powerful than the Constitution, which gives us our rights and freedoms. If you ask a lawyer to report over an allegation that he had put out to say that, of course, somebody is corrupt, you are just asking him to give you some evidence of whatever he has. If I were Martin, I would have declined that invitation, and I'm sure the OSC would have had nothing to do than to proceed to court. But being, a respecter of our laws, he thought that he should, honor that invitation, only for us to get to this high-handed approach that we are currently being told of. If lawyer Kisi Ejabeng and the Office of Special Prosecutor do not want to detain all of us by tomorrow morning, I think that they should do the right thing. Martin Kpebu has not held any office, has not siphoned public funds. People who have done so are still living with us, are still doing, their day-to-day bits, are still going about life normally. If you go for a social advocate, the status of Martin Kpebu, and apply this level of intimidation, you are simply telling all of us to keep quiet and allow you exercise powers that the 1992 Constitution does not give the Office of the Special Prosecutor. I think that, they should listen. Ghanaians are really fuming. You jump on social media. I do not think that lawyer Kisi Ejabeng will want to dare all of us.
Right.
At the end of the day, this has been some of the things that people who go to that office come back to complain for. And
Okay,
one would
Mr.
have
Moore,
thought that they will be getting sober. Martin, unfortunately, it's getting worse. And
Right.
I think that we cannot continue on this tangent at all.
And in advancing the conversation, if you look critically at what the lawyer told us, and for those of you who probably missed what Martin Kpebu's lawyer told us, we'll bring that to you in a moment. But he, amongst other things, said that Martin Kpebu was, doing an interview or granting an interview within the premises, and an officer, a police officer, told him to stop. So there was that conversation between Martin Kpebu and the police officer, and it was on the back of that the officer said he had arrested Martin Kpebu. So is it that we are extending it to the special prosecutor, or because it is within his jurisdiction, the final call should lie with the special prosecutor, and this time not the police officer who has now become a part of the story?
Martin, whatever the rank of this police officer, Martin Kpebu, honored an invitation extended him by the Office of the Special Prosecutor. And so at each point in time that he remains in that premise, whatever interaction, whatever outcomes, the OSP would have to answer to that. I do not think that the police officer, so moto on its own accord, would be able to go to the premises and say Martin is talking to the media. This is one of the things that, mind you, has caught the attention of the nation, is this particular development. And so while the media are able to find themselves within the premises, and the OSP laws did not forbade the media presence, I do not think that you should be this high-handed in insisting that, oh, you shouldn't talk to the media. The media are already there. They are a part of our democracy. We cannot run away from the media. There are things that happen in people's bedrooms, the media will still discuss it. And so if now we are trying, as it were, to insist that even speaking to the media now is also a crime for which people have to be detained, then I'm afraid they would have to detain all of us. Because at the end of the day, even the president of the republic, there have been instances where people speak against the president. They go as far as even to do demonstrations in front of the Jubilee House. I don't think the OSP's office is more of a security space than where the president of the republic, operates from. Yet, we are allowing these things. We are making excuses. Today is Martin. Tomorrow, he invites anybody and does anything they want to do with all of us. I do not think that the OSP should be allowed to arrogate such, overbearing powers that even the president of the republic is not arrogating to himself. I don't think that he's being fair to Martin Kpebu. You invited him, he honored an invitation. Whatever happens within your premises as the OSP would be your responsibility. And anything that happens to Martin, wherever they have taken him, they would answer to all of us very shortly.
Right, and maybe finally, before you take leave of us, Mr. Amoah, fortunately, you also were the heart of a lawyer. How best can Martin Kpebu and his lawyers approach this? First of all, they are unable to tell where he is, but they know that he honored an invitation by the OSP, and it was from that point that they are unable to tell where he's disappeared to. What would the options be for the lawyers now?
Definitely, we would have to just get to court tomorrow to compel them to produce Martin. But at the end of the day, it is bizarre that an invitation is extended to a law-abiding citizen who honors an invitation, and then we pick this person, and in some kangaroo military fashion, we are saying we do not even know where he is. We are asking the OSP Kisi Ejabeng and his team to produce Martin just this night. If they infringe on any of his rights, they would have to infringe on all of us our rights, because clearly, if you had not invited him, he wouldn't be in the office of the OSP. You invited him to produce whatever evidence, whatever that he can also provide. Then you use some kangaroo tactics to do what you have done. I think that we should all join in condemning what has happened this night. If we don't, we are simply handing a gun over some way, somehow, to kids or toddlers who do not know what to do with it. It's power in the hands of people who think they should show power. We have not voted for an OSP. We voted for a president. Even the president himself does not arrogate such powers to himself. Look at the humility with which he governs. Only for an officer of a law institution or organization to behave this way as though we are living under some military dictatorship. Detention for what? Martin, I think that we should join in calling out lawyer Kisi Ejabeng and the OSP office to produce Martin immediately without fail. Anything other than this, they would have to detain all of us by tomorrow morning.
Right. Counsel, thank you so much for your time this evening. Duncan Amoah is the Executive Director of COPEC and has also been sharing a thought on news that we have this evening, which has to do with the fact that Martin Kpebu, who honored an invitation by the special prosecutor, has been whisked away to an unknown location. That's what his lawyers are telling us. So for those who must have missed the interview we had on News360 a few minutes ago with one of the lawyers that went to the OSP's office with Martin Kpebu, this is exactly what he shared with us.
This afternoon at about 2 o'clock, we attended to the invitation of the Office of the Special Prosecutor to assist them in investigations. So while we were at the premises, Martin granted an interview outside the premises of the Office of the Special Prosecutor and returned. So it appears that one of the officers, that is a police officer on at the gate, was not too happy with Martin granting an interview outside the premises of the office of the special prosecutor. Martin actually challenged him that no, there was nothing wrong with him granting an interview and subsequently attending to the inquiry. And so there was some amount of altercation between verbal exchange between him and then the officer. Thereafter, Martin proceeded to attend to the inquiry committee. So while we were having discussions with the inquiry committee, in the course of that, they told Martin that he had actually obstructed an officer of the special prosecutor, and for that matter, he was going to be charged. Meanwhile, let me be quick to add that when the altercation took place, Martin was first to even request to make a complaint against the third officer. But we were told that the complaint center was not available to take our complaint. So Martin proceeded to the inquiry board or committee and presented a complaint before them. He also insisted that that matter should be dealt with even before we could attend to the substantive matter. So we were quite surprised that in the course of the proceedings, the officers went down, up and down, came back and told us that Martin was under arrest because they had gone to investigate the matter. It appears that Martin was rather the one at fault. And for that matter, they were charging him with the offense of obstructing an officer of the special prosecutor.
Right.
That's the charge. Yes.
Okay.
So eventually they said he was going to be admitted to bail in the tune of a landed property in his personal name. You can imagine, obstructing an officer is obstructing a bail condition of landed property in the person's own name. In addition to that, he was to present one surety. So I quickly ride back to the office, which is just about 10 minutes drive, to pick a landed property, the documents to his landed property, return with one surety, only to be told that Martin has been whisked away to an unspecified location. All attempts to know where Martin is as of now is not being fruitful.
Right, so that's the lawyer who was with the Martin Kpebu at the Office of the Special Prosecutor, updating us, or at least that was when he confirmed to us that yes, they honored the invitation. Yes, Martin Kpebu was there and was actually done and was out conducting an interview, and that is where the whole story took a different turn. Joining us now on the line is Christian Mamhesi, also a private legal practitioner. Mr. Mamhesi, good evening. Thank you for your time.
Good evening and thanks for having me, sir.
I'm sure this news has also come to your attention. I would be happy to know what your initial thoughts are, that a citizen honors an invitation and we are told that now his whereabouts is unknown.
I mean, it's quite disturbing. I mean, Martin is, even though he's a citizen, aside that he's a lawyer of high reputation, and he's also a very good friend of mine. I mean, aside the affinity of friendship and all of that, I mean, an ordinary citizen of a land, definitely the police, and then by extension, the OSP, where he suspects that that particular citizen has committed an offense or about committing an offense, can always invite that person. And definitely in law, an invitation is tantamount to an arrest. So in the situation, for whatever the OSP is investigating him about, that procedure kicks in. But if it is only based on the premise that he, just after he came out, he granted interview, and for that reason, he was whisked away to an unknown place, and his lawyers are unable to find him or to get any kind of communication as to assess their client, then this is a breach of his human rights, and it cannot be happening in this modern time. It cannot be happening in this modern time.
And
it would be an indictment on the office of the OSP.
Right. And what would your expectation of the OSP be as of now, especially now that it has gone viral, almost everybody is talking about it, that someone came to your office and has gone missing? Should it be that by now the office should have released a statement or at least come out to let us know that they are just going through normal procedure and that nothing untoward is happening?
Yes, I mean, ordinarily, I expect that should happen because the OSP has a strategic public relations officer, I guess, who is also a lawyer in the name of Mr. Sami Dakun. So, I mean, for all of this having gone viral, I expect that you come out to speak because the OSP being a lawyer, the public relations officer also being a lawyer, there should be a form of communication. But like I said, if indeed it has to do with Mr. Tebu granting an interview after this particular arrest, which one will see an invitation. It's a very serious indictment on the office of the OSP. It cannot be happening in present-day Ghana.
Right.
We've compassed this situation where it can be deemed as though an office is wielding its coercive powers to shut a man down. We all know from in recent times that Mr. Tebu has been very, very vocal concerning the operations of the OSP, and he has also made it very publicly known that he's putting together a petition to take him out for what he deemed as his lack of competence for the position, amidst other things. So his position on the OSP is not known. So if there's no legal justification for this, then it would mean that it is an abuse of office. And I would shudder slowly to come to that conclusion. But if indeed that is the situation, then it would be a very big indictment on the OSP. I mean, he can have him for this night, but definitely the lawyers would be up and doing, God willing, tomorrow, filing in papers and see what the court too could do about it, or even going to the OSP. If he fails to yield, then they'll be exploiting other options to get Mr. Tebu out.
Right. Thank you very much for your time, Christian Mamhersi. And it's very more concerning when it was Martin Kpebu who actually honored the invitation, which has led to his eventual arrest following whatever developments that must have happened in the office. So it's still a fluid situation. We are keeping very close tabs on it. And as we speak, we are having a number of lawyers join the conversation. Abraham Amalba has also joined us. He's the CEO of the Ghana Road Safety Authority. Mr. Amalba, good evening and thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
What would your initial submission be? Clearly, we are all told to be law-abiding citizens. It becomes quite concerning when one abides by this constitution or the law and then finds themselves, arrested. What do you say to what has happened so far?
This is clearly an irrational act on the part of the special prosecutor. Irrational in the sense that, like rightly indicated, the man walks in there, upon your invitation, he says, I won't speak unless I meet the board of the special prosecutor. Now, a suspect or an accused person is not bound to talk when you are asking him questions. So it was wrong for them to then indicate that amounts to obstruction of the work of the special prosecutor. And that's why I'm saying that act by the special prosecutor to arrest Martin Kpebu is an irrational act and must be condemned. I think that clearly the Attorney General should step into this matter and order for his release.
Right. And then, I mean, you have represented a number of people who have, in time past faced similar or something along the lines of, having been invited and detained. What would your initial reaction be, or what would you expect the lawyers of Martin Kpebu to be doing now? And while answering that, would also want you to know that what would you advise the OSP to be doing now that almost everybody is talking about this unfortunate detention, as you've described it?
Well, I think that this evening they should be preparing that they will go to court tomorrow, file their processes, and have him released by the court. I think that apart from that, Ghanaians should also put pressure on the special prosecutor to quit the irrational act. It doesn't make sense. It's irrational. It doesn't make sense at all. The conduct by arresting Martin Tebu for refusing to talk or demanded to talk to the board of the special prosecutor does not call for his arrest. And I think that Ghanaians should march out. There must be a demonstration, but his lawyers must also act by going to court if by tomorrow it's not released or this evening it's not released. And I'm also calling on the Attorney General to intervene and have him removed.
Right. My final question to you, Mr. Malba, will be on the last point you make, that the Attorney General by now should be intervening. Wouldn't that be an interference in the operations of a legal state institution, that is, for what we know as of now, undertaking an investigation?
The prosecutor is clearly under the Attorney General, and I don't agree with those who think that he's independent. He's acting based on Article 88, and Article 88 gives the power to prosecute to the Attorney General. What he is doing is processes leading up to prosecutions, and I'm saying that this is an irrational act. Yes, they can go to court for judicial review for them to quash the order, but again, the Attorney General is not removed from asking that the OSP to release him. It's not far from doing that. It's not illegal, or it's not wrong for him to ask for his release.
Right. Mr. Malba, thank you so much for your time this evening and your thoughts that you share on this breaking story that is becoming quite a fluid one. He's just sharing his thoughts on what we all know as of now, that private legal practitioner has disappeared. That disappearance happened after he honored an invitation at the office of the special prosecutor. Well, minutes after coming out of the office, we are told that he was whisked away. As to where he has been sent to, nobody knows. And a number of lawyers and public commentators are sharing their thoughts and opinions on it. Solomon Owusu has joined us. He is the Director of Communications for the United Party. Mr. Owusu, thank you for your time this evening. I'm sure that as a panelist on Ghana's Most Watched show, which is the Key Points, you've interacted a number of times with Mr. Kpebu. What are your initial thoughts on the fact that he did what was expected of him as a citizen and unfortunately has been arrested on the back of that?
I strongly believe that by tomorrow morning, the OSP has to tender in his resignation. I mean, this is total incompetence that has been established beyond reasonable doubt with his actions, with his conduct against Martin Tebu. I mean, Martin Tebu, right from the beginning, was never under investigation. You invited him to come and aid in your investigation. If I come to your place and to help you, you have no authority whatsoever to dictate to me what I should do. I am only hoping that the reasons being ascribed for his detention is not what it is. But like I'm saying, whether or not it is the issue, tomorrow morning I expect this OSP to tender in his resignation. We are not joking in this country. He cannot be using some of these intimidating tactics. Then he is wrong-footed. He has been caught wrong-footed. Because the people of this country that wants accountability are not interested in some of these charades. Martin Tebu remains a fighter in the corruption business. And that so long as he's calling you the OSP out, if you cannot work, these intimidations will never get to anybody.
Right. But
and I'm saying that, yes.
Yeah, Mr. Osu, is it out of place for the special prosecutor to effect an arrest? It is not.
The only arrest expected of the special prosecutor is to go and bring Kenoforiata, is to go after all the corrupt officials in this country whom we are expecting billions of cities that we have stolen to be retrieved for the state. That is what is expected of him. And not to be flexing muscles with Martin Tebu. He must know what time it is. He must know the mood of the country. That the mood of the country does not support some of these trivialities.
Right.
And it's the reason why a lot of petitions have gone in for him to be removed. Because people expect stolen wealth, stolen monies by the actual administration to be retrieved.
Okay. Well, clearly it's an issue that many already are sharing their very passionate thoughts on, just like you also have, Mr. Owusu. Thank you for speaking to us this evening. Director of Communications for the United Party, Solomon Owusu, there. And as we indicated, the news broke a few minutes ago when we were on bringing you News 360, and we all got news coming in that Martin Kpebu had been whisked away by officials of the Special Prosecutor's Office. He honored an invitation, and that invitation actually is an issue that had already been a matter of or subject of public conversation. As we speak, we have sent a reporter to the Office of the Special Prosecutor to try and find out what exactly is happening in and around the premises of the Special Prosecutor's Office. We have firm information that the offices look closed. There's no activity happening there, so it looks as though they are closed for business today. And if anything will happen, it's likely to be happening tomorrow. So it means that as we speak, very little to nothing is known about where Martin Kpebu is, and especially in and around the premises of the Special Prosecutor. And so he has, over the last few weeks, Martin Kpebu that is, has been coming up with what he believes are confirmed or strong allegations against the Special Prosecutor, where he believes that the Special Prosecutor is complicit in the former Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, leaving the country, and has called that either he resigns or the president be petitioned to remove him from office. He actually gave us clear indications that today, Wednesday, he, Martin Kpebu, was going to present his own petition, which is put together against the Special Prosecutor, to the President, so then it be forwarded to the Chief Justice for onward action to be taken. But as we speak, we are unable to tell whether that petition was presented. But the accusations he leveled against the Special Prosecutor is what he was invited on to come and give proof, or at least come and give some evidence to buttress the allegations he was making. But as we speak, he cannot be found. His lawyers say they are unable to tell where he is. Joining me in studio now is Alfred Okansi, host of Ghana Tonight and the Key Points. And you know that Martin Kpebu is famed as one of our key voices on Key Points here on TV3. So, Alfred, thank you for joining us. What do you make of what the news that we are hearing? How does it come to you?
Well, I mean, it's troubling to say the least, as many have expressed the same sentiments. And here's the reason why. And you've spoken to a number of the lawyers who have referenced what due process is. And if you listen to Martin Kpebu, one of his lawyers who was there with him at the OSP's office, what exactly happened, if we're going to go by that narration and the detail, then it raises a lot more questions, because then if he had finished his business at the Special Prosecutor's Office, reason why he was invited today, and he was granted an interview, and that was described as an obstruction of an officer of the OSP, then we would have to get a legal understanding as to exactly in what context. And then also the question about where he is. I think that over time we have tolerated this whole modus operandi of arresting people, taking them to unknown locations. Their lawyers don't know where they are. We all tend to talk about it, and then it happens again. And it has become, unfortunately, has become part of our fabric of society. And whether that has any legs, merit, locus in law is one that we would have to also question, because this is not the first time we've seen a situation like this, where it's either the OSP or NIB picks up someone or Yoko, and then get somewhere and you can't find them. I mean, where is this modus operandi part of any framework in our legal jurisprudence as a country? And that's a question that we need to establish. But all of this started right from the 18th of November, when Martin Kpebu was invited. by the special prosecutor to assist in investigation. You remember, after that 18th November letter, or what we got to know, that he had been invited on the 18th of November, when he attended to the first invitation, there was a subsequent statement by the special prosecutor's office that Martin Pebble is under investigation. That was rebutted and denied, and in fact, questioned by Martin Pebble himself that, look, where is this coming from? I am not under investigation. I was only invited by the OSP to assist in investigation. This was just last week, Tuesday.
Right.
Then he did indicate that on the 25th of November, he was going to attend to the OSP's invitation again. So that was the second time he went there, on the 25th of November. Then, during that invitation, the questions and concerns were raised about the OSP's office, their posture towards him, that there were some lawyers, as to the number of lawyers he could bring in, and exactly how the entire process would be. Those were also questions. And now we've seen what has happened today. It remains to be seen what explanation will be given by the special prosecutor on where Martin Pebble has been taken to.
And clearly that is one that almost everyone listening and watching now would be interested in, to get to understand what exactly the reasoning is on the part of the special prosecutor to detain or arrest Martin Pebble. But the governance expert has joined us. Generally, we as a country are hoping to improve upon our governance style, of which such state institutions like these anti-corruption institutions like the OSP's office have been created, and they are part of the governance architecture. And Enoch Opoku-Antwi, who analyzes issues of governance, has joined us. Mr. Opoku-Antwi, good evening. Thank you for your time.
Good evening, and how is everybody at the studio?
Yes, and Prof, I mean, my initial or first question to you would be, when you had this issue, what were your thoughts on it, that someone honors an invitation and has been arrested on the back of that?
Thank you, and greetings to your viewers and listeners all over the world. I think that Kisei Jabin is prepared to move either forward or backward with this kind of arrest. And if you look at the sequence of that, what has happened, Martin was arrested after honoring an invitation by the OSP, and he's alleged to have obstructed an officer of the OSP and thus placed under arrest. He was then granted a bail which required him to provide documents showing a landed property in his name and one shirt, and the lawyers proceeded to obtain documents only to return and find out that he has been whisked away to an unknown location. So this is really strange. But as we speak now, I don't know if anybody knows where Martin is.
And that's quite concerning, isn't it? That as a country looking to build up from the kind of past that we have had, some of these issues raises quite critical concerns. So what would your advice be, especially to the special prosecutor? You say he should be prepared to either move forward or backwards. Where should he move, and what immediate steps would you advise that he puts in place if he actually does want to move forward, for instance?
My advice to the special prosecutor is that Martin is not a public servant. He's a private legal practitioner who is speaking his mind. And democracy means that people should speak their mind on an issue. And I think that maybe, it just may be, they think that he's going out traverse in the way he's sitting out on the OSP's office. But I'm praying that this should be a leap to the future. And this leap should be about leadership, not a solo jump. Because this is not a change that we were expecting the office of the OSP to do. Martin has not corrupted himself in any way. He's not a public servant. He's not done anything that we know in public that is untoward. So I don't know why we will go through this tangent of him being arrested and being asked to produce a documented building or house, as a surety of him. It's strange to me, but we are yet to see
what will unfold. Interesting times ahead.
Two final questions to you before you take leave of us, Prof. The first would be that we have heard a number of lawyers who've spoken on this, that this has happened, this kind of detention and arrest has happened a number of times. How much of a dent would this particular one have on our entire governance structure as we seek to consolidate the democracy we are practicing now?
This is a very good question. I think that in governance, if people dissenting views are not tolerated, then we have a big problem as a nation. Remember, from independence, all the African countries, this was the biggest problem of individuals expressing dissenting views. And some were jailed, some were sent to prisons, some were detained. As we are seeing now, that is not what democracy is supposed to be, if you hold a different view on an issue. And I think that if you want to go through this tangent, it's not going to help us, our democracy, because we are a young democracy. We need to make sure that people speak their minds. I have been called many times and asked that, why do you want to speak on an issue to people who don't want to listen to the truth? And if you want to make people who are independent-minded and they have wisdom to speak on an issue and knowledge, if you want to make them an scapegoat to silence others, I think that is not the way democracy should go. So we should see Martin Pegu now.
Right. And my final question, Prof, will be that we spoke to Abraham Amalba, who advised that or suggested that the Attorney General should step in or intervene. From the governance perspective, do you think this is a right move, a right call?
Yes, I think so, that he should move in. Attorney General should move in because Martin is a national asset. Remember, he's been speaking on national issues dispassionately. If we talk about ORA, he was part of the team. There have been a lot of national issues that have been called upon as a private citizen to contribute to the nation building. And if such an individual is being treated this way, that we don't know what he has done, you know, it doesn't speak well for our democracy. And I think that the Attorney General should come in. We should all call on the OSC's office to release Martin immediately.
Right. Professor Enoch Opoku-Antwi, thank you so much for your time this evening and your thoughts on this very fluid subject that has hit all of us a few minutes ago. And for those of you who are just joining, the news is that Martin Pegu went to the office of the Special Prosecutor and has been whisked away to an unknown location. So many are asking, where is Martin Pegu? The office of the Special Prosecutor needs to produce him, as many are calling for. So we are hoping to get even some answers from the office of the Special Prosecutor themselves. They've also gone quiet.
Yeah.
We indicated a few minutes ago that we've sent reporters to the premises or the office of the Special Prosecutor. The place is dead quiet, so it means that they've closed for the day, but they are still in possession of private legal practitioner Martin Pegu. Alfredo Kanse is with me. Also, we do have Joseph Akable, who will be walking us through, I mean, more or less the timelines of the back and forth, the correspondence that the OSP has had with Martin Pegu and what has brought us to where we are today.
Absolutely. And you see, Professor Enoch Opoku-Antwi made a point about Martin Pegu's contribution to the development of this country in many ways. He served on this oral preparatory team. He's indicated on key point a number of times that they served without taking anything, not being paid a penny, you know, and he is, yes, an ordinary Ghanaian, as we want to put it, but he's an individual that represents a constituency. And he's one person as well who has contributed not only to the development of this country, but to our jurisprudence as a country as well. For the lawyers like Joseph Akable, Dennis Pobere-Wedam, myself, who are now studying the law, Martin Pegu is an institution.
Absolutely.
When it comes to legal education. And for someone who fought for all offenses to be bailable, being a subject of a situation like this, it begs the question of exactly what this will be in any legal understanding, is it not?
Absolutely. I mean, very interesting. And what comes to my mind immediately is the question that, I mean, one of the contributors was asking about what steps his lawyers will be making. The 48-hour rule, which you made reference to, which people ensure that it applies to all offenses and took off offenses like murder and the other capital offenses that were previously not bailable. I mean, as it stands now, he's been kept just less than even 24 hours, so to speak.
Absolutely.
And so it means that they can hold him for 48 hours. So the lawyers primarily may not take any step at this point in time. They would have to go back. Also, the lawyer we spoke to, Marcelinius, he did indicate that he had actually been granted bail, but the bail required that he provides landed property in his name, and in addition to that, he had to also get one person as a surety. So they went over to his office to pick those documents to bring it, only to arrive and see that he had left. And so what we expect to happen tomorrow will be that they would have to try and execute that bail that he has been granted, unless perhaps the Attorney General, like here, Abraham Maliba, expressed that view, intervenes. We do not know whether the OSP takes the position that others have taken, that he is independent of the Attorney General or he works under the Attorney General. We heard Thaddeus Sorry make the point not too long ago in that interview with KSM that as far as he's concerned, by virtue of Article 88, all prosecutions being initiated in the name of the Attorney General, they believe that all bodies that undertake prosecution work under the Attorney General. And so all those are angles that we'll be exploring as we continue with this all-important coverage that started off when we brought you the very latest news. What we're trying to do here, Alfred started a bit of it with that, but we are going to do it as bullet points just to walk us through those who may not be familiar with this story and where we are coming from. Now, it's a story about January this year, started in January this year, when the special prosecutor declared Ken Ofori-Atta as a wanted man. He was looking for Ken Ofori-Atta. He had said that Ken Ofori-Atta had left the jurisdiction. We know that before he left the jurisdiction, he had informed the current chief of staff and the former chief of staff that he was leaving the country. His lawyers had written multiple times to say that, well, he's unwell. The OSP said, well, he's not accepting that. They wanted his presence. And so that is how that story started. We know that just this last month in November, the OSP filed charges against Ken Ofori-Atta. But in between that, the question that remained on the minds of some individuals was, what accounted for the OSP to not have prevented him from leaving the country? But I mean, this is an important question that we would have to ask and would have to discuss extensively, Alfred. But there's a bit of perspective that you can bring to our viewers as I walk you through what we have now. A very important legal practitioner in the space who contributes to some of these matters. We had heard him not too long ago talk about it.
Absolutely. And let's go on to the telephone now. And Thaddeus Sorry is a private legal practitioner, a prominent constitutional lawyer in this country. He's joined us on the telephone. Thaddeus Sorry, good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, good evening, Alfred.
And, well, it's not a good evening, but just for the greeting of it. But I'm sure you've been following what's been happening right now with Martin.
I haven't been following what has been happening. I just saw a flyer.
Yes.
Somewhere on a platform.
The flyer captures exactly what is happening. Martin Pebbles' whereabouts is unknown as we speak. He attended to the invitation of the special prosecutor earlier today. According to his lawyers, after the engagement, he granted an interview, and that was described as an obstruction of the officer of the OSP. And what ensued eventually led to him being arrested and taken to an unknown location as we speak. We are the OSP's office. There's no indication of anybody there. Their gates are closed. But as we speak, the outstanding issue is that Martin Pebbles' whereabouts is unknown. Counsel.
No, but what was the reason for which the OSP invited him?
And the reason for which he was invited was what has been the result of the previous invitation, to assist with investigations into certain statements that were made by him.
So I've always held one view, and I have been consistent on that. Now, there is no reason why a person invited to assist with investigations must be detained. And so my view is that if it is in relation to what we've already read and what we already know, there is no basis whatsoever for the detention of Martin Kebi. And as if what we are telling you is correct, that we don't even know where he is, I am beginning to think that the OSP is abusing his powers. And if he's listening to us, I think he should release Martin Kebi immediately.
And you see, Yes, sir.
He must do that immediately.
I'm sorry for obstructing, but I just wanted to understand in what aspect of our jurisprudence or our legal architecture gives any credence or legitimizes this whole modus operandi of whisking people away and into an unknown location when even his lawyers do not know where he is.
I don't know if he was whisked away, but I just explained to you that my position is that everybody is entitled to their liberty. If you invite them to interrogate them in connection with an offense, and you cannot finish the interview, there is no reason to detain them just for the fun of detaining them, unless you suspect that if you release them, they are going to interfere with investigation. So no jurisprudence allows the detention of another person only because investigations are going on. If the OSP is going home to sleep, the person that he invites to assist with the investigations must also be allowed to go home to sleep. If he cannot explain why Martin Kwebu has been kept tonight, then there is a problem, and all of us must get involved. I have said this in connection with other people apart from Martin Kwebu. I don't think other detentions, for instance, I won't mention names now. It's okay.
And you say you
so
raised...
Martin Kwebu
yes.
should be released unless the OSP has very valid reasons to detain him until tomorrow morning. He should be released immediately if the OSP is listening to us.
I see. And what valid reason will there be, respectfully, for him?
I don't want to speak for the OSP. I will not speak for the OSP. But I'm saying if the OSP is sleeping in his house tonight, he must give us very cogent reasons why Martin Kwebu is not sleeping in his house tonight.
But looking at...
If he doesn't have it, there will be a problem.
But looking
because
at...
I think people are beginning to abuse power.
You clearly...
Just because Martin Kwebu has said that the OSP is corrupt, it's not a reason to detain him. At all.
This action is a clear abuse of power, you say?
That is my view. But just because he says the OSP is corrupt, it's not a reason to detain Martin Kwebu. And will not be a good reason to detain any other person. And if he's listening to us, there must be a valid reason. If there is no valid reason, I am beginning to think we will have a bigger problem than what happened tonight.
There's been a suggestion that the Attorney General should intervene in this matter at this point.
The Attorney General is not supposed to teach him to tell people not to abuse their power. That's not the Attorney General's responsibility. He has better responsibilities than telling a public official that he should know that the exercise of his power is delineated by the rules on the exercise of discretionary power under the Constitution. That's not the Attorney General is supposed to be advising every public official that when you are exercising your power, be careful of Article 296. That's not the Attorney General's rule. The OSP knows that. And if he has good reasons to detain Martin Kwebu tonight, I don't have a problem. But if the explanation is not good enough, then we have a big problem.
But Counsel, just for those of us who are even learning the law at early stages, can it be the case that Martin Kwebu, wherever he is, without any representation of his counsel, is it lawful?
I am saying prima facie, I don't think it's lawful. And that's the reason I still have made some leeway for the OSP to be able to tell us why he can go home and sleep comfortably and Martin Kwebu is supposed to be in custody. wherever he is. If it is not to show him it is not just to show him where power lies.
Essentially, this is what you deduce this is all about. To just flex the power of the OSP because Martin Pebu has been critical of him over the past few months.
I will not jump to that conclusion. But I'm saying I want to wait for the OSP to come out tomorrow morning and tell us that there was justification for that detention. If there's no doubt that if he cannot convince me as an ordinary citizen of the Republic that there was reason for Martin Pebu to be in custody tonight, and he can go home and sleep comfortably only because he has power, we must fight that power. And I'm saying, I have started saying it already, that I'm not happy with some of the detentions and the bail conditions and all of that. Maybe it is time to speak and to act on it.
And sir, earlier I asked about what the Attorney General can do in this instance, but the context is that to the extent that the Special Prosecutor's Office is an office under the Attorney General's office, or it's a function within the Attorney General's office, to that extent, can the Attorney General, based on that, issue a directive that, you know what?
I agree with you. The Attorney General can. In this there is no basis whatsoever to detain any Ghanaian only because you are investigating them. There is no basis whatsoever.
But
and I'm saying, if he gets the Attorney General to intervene, it won't feel, it doesn't help the situation. Because the question is whether that detention is candid, it was fair and reasonable. What did Martin Pebu say that justifies all of this?
Well, even though these are officers of the Special Prosecutor's Office that acted, they wouldn't have done it without the OSP, that's the Special Prosecutor himself, knowing about this, is it not?
Well, the OSP is the OSP. It has a head. He is liable for everything that happens if it emanates from his office. And for me, that's where I leave it. In all candor, I'm telling you that there must be some basis for that detention. If it is not a show of power, then we have a problem. And from now on, we must begin as citizens to interrogate the exercise of that power.
Martin Pebu has consistently maintained that he is not under investigation. He was only invited by the OSP to assist in the investigation. There was a statement attributed to an officer of the Special Prosecutor that Martin Pebu was being investigated. And even though Martin Pebu disputed this particular claim, looking at the turn of events now, would you further ask questions of the office to come clear on exactly what they are asking of Martin Pebu?
I don't want to speculate about anything. All I'm saying is that Martin Pebu is entitled to maintain that he is not under investigation. Even if he is there a basis for his detention tonight? And I'm saying, sitting where I sit right now, without any additional information, there is no basis. And if the OSP cannot justify it, and I understand and I can relate to it, this matter wouldn't be left there. The OSP must be told that he cannot abuse his power. Just like every other public official. Because I'm beginning to think that people are abusing their powers. Just because somebody's under investigation, it's no reason to keep them in custody. I don't agree with that.
But the most important call that you're leaving with us tonight is that Martin Pebu should be released. Wherever he is, the special prosecutor should release him.
Instantly. I say instantly. And unless by tomorrow morning, if he's not released, the OSP can give me an explanation that I can relate to. I am telling you that this thing must stop. There have been too many detentions and all of that based on clear exercise of power. And we won't allow people that we give power to. Sovereignty resides in the people of Ghana. We will not allow people that we give power to use that power to oppress us. This is not a jumper or anything. If by tomorrow morning we don't see it, I think we must act instantly and immediately.
You had held even proud to today that the OSP should just leave Martin Kpebu alone. You still stand by that?
I still stand by it. It was Martin Kpebu's view of his performance. Just as every Ghanaian must be able to express their view on the performance of any public official. If they express it, whether you like it or not, I think you should take it in good faith, take it in your stride, and then improve. That's what I think.
Thaddeus, sorry, appreciate your time on this. Thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you. Okay. All right, bye. Bye.
Great. That's Thaddeus Sorry is a private legal practitioner, renowned constitutional lawyer, and he had held earlier, in fact, prior to today, that the OSP should just leave Martin Kpebu alone. But then this is not happening. It's clear in his words that there's no valid reason why Martin Kpebu should be held or detained by the OSP, unless, of course, we want to hear the contrary from the OSP eventually, to come and give a clear explanation why we're even talking about Martin Kpebu not being found or nowhere to be found as we speak, especially taking into consideration what his lawyers had told us in that interview about the sequence of events and how things are played out. The point that he makes that we also would have to continue to ask questions of is why Martin Kpebu was detained or has been detained in the first place. And for him, we don't even have to wait for the Attorney General to intervene. He wants a special prosecutor to act and act swiftly. We're going to hear a quick recall of that interview that my colleague Martin Esiedodate had with one of the lawyers of Martin Kpebu earlier today when this incident happened, giving us detail of exactly what led to Martin Kpebu being taken in. Take a listen.
This afternoon at about 2 o'clock, we attended to the invitation of the Office of the Special Prosecutor to assist them in investigations. So while we were at the premises, Martin granted an interview outside the premises of the Office of the Special Prosecutor and returned. So it appears that one of the officers, that is a police officer, at the gate, was not too happy with Martin granting an interview outside the premises of the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Martin actually challenged him that no, there was nothing wrong with him granting an interview and subsequently attending to the inquiry. And so there was some amount of altercation verbal exchange between him and then the officer. Thereafter, Martin proceeded to attend to the inquiry committee. So while we were having discussions with the inquiry committee, in the course of that, they told Martin that he had actually obstructed an officer of the special prosecutor, and for that matter, he was going to be charged. Meanwhile, let me be quick to add that when the altercation took place, Martin was first to even request to make a complaint against the third officer. But we were told that the complaint center was not available to take our complaint. So Martin proceeded to the inquiry board or committee and presented a complaint before them. He also insisted that that matter should be dealt with even before we could attend to the substantive matter. So we were quite surprised that in the course of the proceedings, the officers went down, up and down, came back and told us that Martin was under arrest because they had gone to investigate the matter. It appears that Martin was rather the one at fault. And for that matter, they were charging him with the offense of obstructing an officer of the special prosecutor.
Right.
That's the charge. Yes.
Okay.
So eventually they said he was going to be admitted to bail in the tune of a landed property in his personal name. Can imagine, obstruction an officer is obstructing a bail condition of landed property in the person's own name. In addition to that, he was to present one surety. So I quickly ride back to the office, which is just about 10 minutes drive,
okay,
to pick a landed property, the document to his landed property, return with one surety, only to be told that Martin has been whisked away to an unspecified location. All attempts to know where Martin is as of now is not being fruitful.
Marcelinus Bia is a member of Martin Kpebu's legal team of lawyers who accompanied him to the OSP's office earlier today. Well, Joseph, a colleague and our Parliamentary Affairs correspondent, Christian Yale, has been speaking to some members of Parliament on this. Francis Xavier Sosu is also a private legal practitioner, is a member of Parliament for the Medina constituency, and this is what he told our correspondent just a few minutes ago. This matter has been topical as well in Parliament from what we understand. Take a look.
Mr. Speaker, I think that the Office of the Special Prosecutor, when they appeared before the committee, demonstrated that by virtue of the savings they have made for the state, they are actually working in favor and in the interest of the state. Of course, we haven't seen major prosecutions yet, but they have proven that they are doing their work well. Mr. Speaker, again, let me clarify the point that the fact that the Office of Special Prosecutor is doing the best they can within their mandate does not mean that citizens and individuals who have issues about how the Special Prosecutor is operating cannot come out to speak against them. So I was worried when people like Martin Kpebu, for example, was invited to the Special Prosecutor because he was on TV raising some allegations. These are things I believe that the Special Prosecutor must work on to shaping the perception or the public perception that is currently championing or that is currently moving or sweeping the office of the Special Prosecutor away. Having said that, Mr. Speaker, every citizen that has an issue can petition. And in this case, the petition was made to the President, and the President only referred the petition in accordance with the Constitution of Ghana. So I pray that whatever be the case, let us approve the estimates. After approval of the estimates, let the process go through so that at the end of the day, whatever comes out will be within the limit of the law.
So that's Francis Xavier Sosu, is member of Parliament for the Medina constituency as well. And the statement he made on the floor was during the debate for the approval of the budget estimates for the Special Prosecutor's Office. And that exercise also generated a conversation about the work of the office and also this call about whether or not the Special Prosecutor is living up to the expectation of Ghanaians on the matter of the fight against corruption, especially because of these recent comments about seeing Ken Ofori-Atta leave, not being able to do much about it because there was lack of cooperation from other state agencies, and that position that he espoused in that interview with KSM has been questioned because there were other avenues that many believe that he could have also explored to do much more, and to the extent that he had been giving some updates through press conference. I'm talking about the Special Prosecutor through press conferences, and never mentioned this instance of facing challenges with Ken Ofori-Atta until just about a month ago during that interview with KSM is what led to some questions as well being asked of exactly what is going on, coupled with what Manasseh Azure-Azwene has also been putting out about the work into the SML deal, with the Special Prosecutor himself described Ken Ofori-Atta as the chief architect, the brain, the mastermind behind this entire SML deal, to the extent that Manasseh Azure-Azwene is questioning some data, information that were put out by the office, and the office also responding. We had a bit of some clarity on exactly this $2.7 billion that the OSP claims he had saved as a result of this SML deal, as against the $500 million that Manasseh Azariah put out as the real figure. Eventually, it all came around to the figure that Manasseh had put out. And a certain diary of action as well that Manasseh put out on Key Point on Saturday, exclusively with one document that we're also going through because he has quite some detail in there that point to a certain direction. So stay with us in the coming days. It's one that we're going to be analyzing and to get some more details and also ask the needed questions. And for some clarity, Joseph Akable is still with us. There's some breaking news coming in this regard. So stay with us. Stay with us. There's some breaking news right now on this particular development regarding Martin Peeble's whereabouts. And this is the continuous coverage of this breaking news that we put out earlier. There's an update on Martin Peeble's whereabouts. This is coming through right now. And this is the breaking news as we have it. Joseph, what do we know?
And so it's an update on his whereabouts. I mean, in the last little over an hour, we've been asking the questions of where he is. We have an answer for our viewers. Our sources indicate to us that as we speak, Martin Peeble is being kept at a National Intelligence Bureau installation here in Accra. That is where he's being held currently. We understand that after he had been whisked away from the Office of the Special Prosecutor, he was taken over to be kept at that particular facility. And his lawyers, as expected, are working around the clock to identify him, have the opportunity to go over and have interaction with him with the hope that the bail which he was granted at the Office of the Special Prosecutor, they be allowed to execute that particular bail so that they can take him home. And so if you're just joining us, the update on it is that we know his whereabouts now. Earlier in the last hour and a half, the story that we've been bringing is to the effect that his whereabouts, what is unknown, was unknown. Now we know that he's being kept at a National Intelligence Bureau installation here in Accra. And his lawyers, like I did indicate, are working around the clock to ensure that they execute the bail. The bail he was granted was to the effect that he had to provide landed properties in his name. And beyond that also, one other surety. That was what resulted in his lawyers leaving the Office of the Special Prosecutor to pick up the documents in Martin Peeble's name at his office, which is a few meters away from the office. After they went over to pick it and they returned to the Office of the Special Prosecutor, they were informed that he had been taken away, leading them to a frantic search right here in the capital, trying to figure out where he is. But the update is that he's being kept at an installation under the control of the National Intelligence Bureau. So if you're just joining us, this has been the coverage in the last, since sometime after 7 p.m. when we started. We brought you the big news about the fact that a private legal practitioner, Martin Peeble, has been detained by the Office of the Special Prosecutor. The very latest on the matter is that he is in the custody of the National Intelligence Bureau. They are not the ones who arrested him, but it's a facility under the control of the National Intelligence Bureau. And that is where our sources confirmed to us that he is being kept currently. His lawyers are not backing down. They are not giving up. They hold the view that insofar as he was granted bail by the Special Prosecutor and they were asked to bring the relevant documents to have it executed, they intend to ensure that they execute the bail to have him go over home. And whenever he's needed, he'll show up as he has done over the period that he has been invited by the Office of the Special Prosecutor, Alfred.
Well, but then again, however the case might be, I mean, now that we do know his whereabouts from our close sources, he is still entitled to a counsel of his choice. That is one of the rights of a suspect. He's not even an accused person as we speak now. And so that's why you hear that you're sorry, raise questions about, his lawyers not even knowing where he is. But now we've established that information that it is indeed the case that he is in a National Intelligence Bureau facility. And he's here in Accra, and his lawyers are bent on meeting that bail condition, and one that we're also getting close information from the sources within his legal team that they will indeed execute this bail condition And so that is information that we're here. We will keep a close eye on how things are playing out. But this is the breaking news. This is the update on what we've been talking about so far. So Martin Peeble's whereabouts is known now. This is the breaking news right now on the latest on Martin Peeble's whereabouts. We do know now that he's been held in the National Intelligence Bureau facility here in Accra. And just stay with us because this is information is coming in thick and fast. It's a fluid situation, but we're keeping an eye on how things are playing out, bearing in mind the fact that this is a matter that has generated a national attention and conversation, and rightly so, because of the stature and the personality of the man that we're talking about. And I did indicate that because of the stance that he's held and consistently championed matters of national concern, he has also been able to raise a constituency of his own. Talking about Martin Peeble, he's not just an individual that we're talking about, and that's why you have a number of people who are raising this. Even beyond that, we're talking about the fundamental rights as has been played out. And that's why you hear many of the lawyers that we've spoken to reference this modus operandi, which unfortunately has become part of our legal framework, which shouldn't be. Because Thaddeus Sorry did indicate that it's a strange development in our jurisprudence. It does not have any legs, locus, or any fundamental standing in our law. But then again, we have investigative bodies in this country employ this strategy of taking persons they are investigating to places, unknown locations where their lawyers, even their lawyers, cannot find them. And we've accepted it. And this is one that has to be consistently questioned so that at some point we have to put a stop to it. It doesn't help us in any way. We're a country, so in the rule of law, the law must work. It mustn't just be seen to be working. It must work. Not just for Martin Peeble, but for every Ghanaian in this country.
And Alfred, I think we should walk through some of the timelines, some of the bullet points, events that put it all in context and addresses some of the concerns that some of you have been asking. And so first, we know that there was an OSP statement on Ken Ofori-Attah's departure. In fact, that was an interview that the special prosecutor, Kiseh Jabin, granted to KSM. And in that interview, for the very first time, we learned from the OSP that they had information that Ken Ofori-Attah was leaving the country. Kiseh Jabin says that the security agencies at the time did not cooperate with him in terms of preventing him from leaving. We've heard other explanation that has been offered by officers working with the OSP, but that's what the OSP told KSM on that show. Now, following that interview, allegation of incompetence was leveled by Martin Peeble against the special prosecutor. And that is a conspiracy theory that Martin put out there. Martin's argument was basically to the effect that, well, the OSP works for the people of Ghana. And so if you have information that a high-profile suspect is leaving the country, intercept communication that is leaving the country, and security agencies are not cooperating as you are alleging, the important thing to do is to put the information out there in the public domain. And so he said that, well, as a result of that, Kiseh Jabin is incompetent. Now, he went a step further to now even say that, well, Kiseh Jabin should step aside completely because of corruption that is taking place in the office of the special prosecutor. Now, that is an allegation that right here on Key Point, in this studio, when Key Point took place, when he made it, I remember that interaction with him, Alfred, you drew his attention that those are serious allegations that he has to be ready to substantiate. The OSP moved in swiftly and invited him to appear before him. Now, once that invitation was extended, some legal practitioners started raising concerns already, because the concerns that were raising were to the effect that, look, you have an individual here who is accusing this individual of engaging in corruption. Then the office that this individual heads invites him to come over to answer questions about the allegation that has been made. And so they were raising questions about conflict of interest and why the OSP should be investigating itself, basically, because in the words of Martin Peeble, he said the OSP had become a crime scene. And that is what resulted in his invitation. Subsequently, we had Martin Peeble say that, well, he's not a subject of the investigation, but he's just going to assist and provide with information. But that was not the last of it, because Martin Peeble, shortly after he had attended upon the OSP for the first time, organized a demonstration dubbed Agronifem, in which they demanded the OSP's resignation. They said that Kiseh Jabin was incompetent insofar as he failed to prevent Ken Ofori-Atta from leaving the jurisdiction. And so they demanded his resignation. There were other individuals, church leaders who joined this particular demonstration and participated in it, piling pressure on Kise Jabin for him to be removed from office or to have him resign.
Yeah, it was Apostle Abraham Lincoln who put together this demonstration.
You have to hold on to that name.
Martin Pebo.
You have to hold on to that name, very important, because he's actually petitioned the OSP. And so we see right here that after the demonstration, petitions have been filed seeking the removal of the OSP. He's been accused of incompetence and stated misbehavior. And that petitioner is Apostle Abraham Lincoln. Very interesting name there. Yes, he's the one who participated in the demonstration, and afterwards, one of the petitions. In fact, there are multiple petitions, and we know that it's one of them that is from the camp of the apostle that has been sent. The update on that petition is that we know that the presidency has forwarded it to the Chief Justice. With regards to the removal process for the OSP, the Chief Justice has to do that prima facie determination. And so it's currently at the doorstep of the Chief Justice. And I mean, we are waiting for an update on what becomes of that. Then the next step that happens is now the invitation that came again, because he was going multiple times. And at the very initial level, Martin Pebo told us that when he went over to the office of the special prosecutor, he raised an objection. He did not tell us the content of the objection, but subsequently we learned a bit more about what the objection was about. On the first day, he indicated that the objection had to do with the fact that he did not believe that the OSP should be investigating this matter because his accusation was against the OSP. Subsequently, they was asked to go and come back again. Then he went back, and now we are told that he was detained. The information that we've learned so far from the lawyers, what we understand is that the arrest was not linked to any of these processes that is taking place. They said that when he was in there, he came outside and granted an interview to a journalist outside the premises. And when he was returning, this OSP officer, who we are told is actually a police officer, had told him that it was wrong on his part to have granted an interview outside. So his lawyers tell us that there was a bit of an altercation. And Martin Pebo took the view that that officer had conducted himself in a manner that he considered inappropriate. And so he wanted to file a complaint against that officer. Then he was told that the office that receives the complaint was not available. And so he went over to meet the interview panel that was interrogating him and asking him questions about the matter that had taken place so far. Then he was informed that he's actually been arrested for obstructing an officer of the OSP, which is actually an offense under Section 69 of the Office of the Special Prosecutor Act. The maximum sentence in terms of jail term that it attracts is 4 years. And you heard the lawyer in that interview with Martin Esiedu that make the point that they believe that that is not an offense such that they should be demanding the conditions, the terms of the bill that he was granted, to the effect that, well, he should be required that he has to provide landed properties in his own name and have another individual sign for him as surety. And so that is what resulted in the lawyers now leaving the office of the special prosecutor to go over and retrieve the properties in the name of Martin Pebo from his office, the documents. They went to retrieve the documents bearing his name, only to arrive and be told that, well, he's been whisked away, and the place appeared to have been closed for business for the day. And then the frantic search began, which we've now brought you the very latest on it, that is being kept in the National Intelligence Bureau facility. So that is the journey in the last 2 hours that we've been walking you through this very important matter, the arrest and subsequent detention, as we are learning now, of Martin Pebo. Alfred, there are some procedural concerns that are coming up in relation to where he is being kept now and the possibility of whether the bill could be executed, because, mind you, the NIB facility is not under the control of the special prosecutor. And so they would have asked that, keep this individual. And the question that will be asked is, what instruction were they given? Were they given the instructions such that they could execute the bill if the lawyers show up with the documents? That is one. Secondly, are officers of the special prosecutor potentially at that facility to ensure that they help him execute the bill? Because if the answer to the question, those two questions are no, then it potentially means that the lawyers may identify this NIB installation, arrive with whatever documents and surety that they have, but still will not be able to execute the bill because simply the OSP has closed shop and the person who is keeping him has been instructed to just keep him, which will mean that he would have to spend the night at that facility, and we know that they could also keep him within a 48-hour limit. But then again, tomorrow they'll be open for business, and hopefully they'll be able to execute those bill terms as well. And so that is it in terms of what we are picking up so far and what we've been bringing you so far, a summary of where we've come from. Very interesting and fast developing story. And already there are those who have made the call on the Attorney General to say that, Alfred, they say that the Attorney General needs to
in fact,
intervene.
you see, you referenced some conditions that has to prevail as to whether or not this bail condition can be executed because of the location of Martin Pebble. Now, those conditions is one that we have to establish. But one thing is clear, that the special prosecutor is not an office on its own. It works under the office and with the authority of the Attorney General, for that matter. The Attorney General has that power and is so interested to, as it were, step into this matter. And that is why you hear likes of Abraham Amaliba, and then also Professor Enoch Inchi, all make that call to the Attorney General because of the play out of events and the fact that roundly all the lawyers that we've spoken to this evening have condemned this particular action and the modus adopted by the special prosecutor in this particular regard. Now, it is one that we are seeing, especially because of the concerns of the special prosecutor's own conduct, that is, before today, and the questions that were asked of the special prosecutor regarding everything that Martin Pebble has been talking about. And you see, we keep mentioning Martin Pebble. He's not alone in this. Maybe he's one of the voices that has been vocal and loud about this, the conduct of the OSP, the questions about accountability. This is a public office. And so they would definitely have to answer questions that the public asks, because power essentially resides in the people. And we're asking those questions because the OSP is supposed to be answering them. And if Martin Pebble asks in a way that the OSP now raises questions about exactly what has been said, he has consistently indicated that he is not under investigation. And I think that that's an underlying issue that we have to continuously put out, because he says one thing, and the special prosecutor's office also puts out another view, that he is under investigation. If that is what they are working with and operating on, then it may well explain some of the things we are seeing right now, is it not?
I mean, it comes back to the point that some have made, that it's very important for the OSP to speak directly and publicly on this matter. And I mean, we must give the OSP some credit within the context of communication, because there have been instances where some have even expressed the view that the office basically talks too much, because we've seen them issue statements on various matters. And so this is a matter that, at least for the last 2 hours, the news has been out there. Some official explanation should be coming from the office to clarify the matters and place them within context. Because as we have it now, we only have a one-sided story, as we've been able to pick mainly from our sources, and secondly, confirmed publicly by the lawyers who have been representing Martin Pebble in this particular matter. The question you raised about whether the Attorney General can intervene or not, this is a matter that we could potentially end up one day in one form or the other at the Supreme Court, because there are some who disagree. And we heard Tayo Sorry, he agrees with the view that the AG exercises some control over the OSP. And it all boils down to the mandate of the officers provided for in Section 4 of the OSP Act. And it says here that, except as otherwise provided in the Constitution, the office is not subject to the control, the direction of a person or an authority in the performance of the functions of the office. And so that is the independent power that the office has, that we've heard the OSP Kisejabi himself speak publicly about. But that is not all. There's another interesting provision that comes right after it, Section 4.2. And it says that, subject to Clause 4 of Article 88 of the Constitution, the office shall, for the purpose of this act, be authorized by the Attorney General to initiate and conduct the prosecution of corruption and corruption-related offences.
So
now,
that's the authority.
That is the authority that
Attorney
the office
General
operates under, the OSP operates under. And so there are those who make the point that Article 88 is what allows the Attorney General to have audience in any court in the country. All criminal summons are instituted at the instance of the Attorney General. And so, by virtue of the 4.2, there are those who say that the first part of the Section 4, which more or less grants them independence with regards to direction and control, they say that that direction and control cannot be total, because right when you go to 2, the authority to conduct the investigation and prosecution is emanating from the Office of the Attorney General. And so that is what informs the view that Thaddeus Sory did express on KSM. So he's expressed it here this evening to make the point that as far as he's concerned, he thinks that the Attorney General exercises control over the office. And recently, you saw the public back and forth over whether the docket was ready and whether the OSP was not making it available to the Office of the Attorney General. Eventually, the OSP clarified all those.
Well, in fact, he
matters.
has indicated that, well, they're working together with the Attorney General's office and the matter of the extradition of Ken Ofori-Atta. On Saturday, Manasseh Azera-Awene, the investigative journalist, was clear and unequivocal in his word that per the information that he has, there is some, put it as a rift between the Attorney General's office and the Special Prosecutor's office.
In fact, he said irreconcilable differences.
For the fact that on this same matter, then to the and I probe further that the Office of the Special Prosecutor has put out otherwise, that they are actually cooperating and working together. And he went on to say that from what he knows, unless the OSP comes to challenge the position that he published, that there is, as we speak, and he's speaking of the current situation that exists now, the irreconcilable differences that has led to that lack of cooperation between the Special Prosecutor's office and the Attorney General's office. Prior to the moment that the Special Prosecutor came to say that, look, they are cooperating, the Deputy Attorney General, Dr. Shem Sai, had said in an interview that they had been asking for the docket because they need that to start the entire process of extraditing Ken Ofori-Atta to Ghana. It says that that was going to be made available to the office the Friday of that same week. The Deputy Attorney General came out on Tuesday to speak, if indeed there was going to be something else. So that kind of communication should have been there in that same week, that, you know what, I'm going to give it to you on Friday. Subsequent to this, we've seen the Special Prosecutor now charge Ken Ofori-Atta and the 6 others in this SML case. Questioning is, if this path could have been taken a long time ago, why did we have to wait till now? Right? And those are the questions that the likes of Manasseh Azera-Awene have been asking. That per the information that he has, the diary of action in the Special Prosecutor's office that captures the specific dates of every action that the Special Prosecutor takes in terms of investigating a particular case, captures January 2025 as the date that the OSP started investigating this SML matter. He's referencing information that's available to him in the diary of action. The Special Prosecutor responds that it is not the case, that they've been investigating OSP, that's the SML prior to. That's the SML deal entirely.
Entirely, yeah.
Prior to January 2025. This was later that the Special Prosecutor came to say that Ken Ofori-Atta is the mastermind. Manasseh has indicated that Ken Ofori-Atta, as far as he knows, has active visas to the UK and to the United States as well. And so it also then goes to cement that point that Matikwebo had been making, that he also has information. And this is one that whenever he says it, I ask further questions, that he knows and has gotten information from impeachable sources that Ken Ofori-Atta is working to have a permanent stay in the United States. And it's one that as well leads to whether or not this extradition process would actually achieve the needed objective. In fact, the likes of Christian Mamhesi has walked us through the entire process of the extradition, how long it's going to take. It's going to be a long walk. It's not one that will finish in a day or two. That's an issue as well. But lawyer Kojoga Adawudu is joining us on the telephone for a conversation on this development, as we're saying now. Hello, lawyer. Good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, good evening. and thank you for having me on this platform.
Now we're hearing we've confirmed from our sources the whereabouts of private legal practitioner Martin Kpebu. He's being held at the National Intelligence Bureau facility here in Accra, and we do not know whether there has been specific instructions on whether or not, if his lawyers are able to meet the bail conditions, he will be released. But with where he is now, does it, from where you sit, would it pose any challenge on the possible release before end of day today?
From the information that I'm having, I don't think that it will be possible for him to be released if indeed he is in the NIB custody. And the issue is that, yes, he's been arrested and they wanted bail to be granted. Now, bail, our laws has made it clearly that whilst investigative bodies have been given that authority, the mandate to impose bail and also grant bail, it doesn't have to be onerous, it doesn't have to be excessive. But from where, if the OSP indeed is the one who has arrested Mr. Martin Kpebu, it smacks of malice. Because you cannot be a judge in your own cause. You cannot be, because this is a man who has petitioned against you. And the petition, although is not an evidence, is an allegation against you. You invited him, and the man decides and says that I would remain silent. I will not speak to you. And you term that as obstruction of an officer. For me, I think that this is no, it's unacceptable. And if I were one of the lawyers of Martin Kpebu, I would remain quiet, because he cannot keep him there more than 48 hours. And then you sue the OSP, indeed, if he is. You sue him in his personal capacity for malice. I think that it is time that we stand up to authority people who want to misuse authority that has been granted to them, because after the position, they are still ordinary citizens like us. It doesn't matter the kind of office you occupy, and you want to misuse that office because the law gives you some power and discretion. I think it is no. And I want to believe that those police people on the premises are under the instruction of the OSP. It's not that the police people who purported to cause his arrest are under the IGP. And if it is the case that those policemen who have purported to arrest are under the IGP, I think it is a matter that they should be interdicted and the matter should be looked into. Because every citizen has a right before every investigative body to say that I'm exercising my constitutional right not to speak to you. And in this particular case, he has accused you. So there is already some kind of agitation and mistrust between the parties. And how can you be a judge in your own cause? Asking that somebody who has made allegation against me for my removal, I am the same person going to listen to him that he should come and prove to me. And he has the right to say, no, I will speak to the board. But not you as a person, not you as a special prosecutor, but I will speak to the board. So why won't you give him the opportunity and come and see that the man is obstructing an official? I think that this is a matter we need to look into more. And I beg to say that indeed, if what we are hearing is true, I think it will be the beginning of the end of the OSP.
I see.
It is not good for him. It's not good for him. It's not good for his image. And the allegations that has been made will be magnified in the eyes of the public.
And looking at the play of events, as we spoke to his lawyers, and you hold the view as well that there's no reason why Martin Peebles should have been detained or should be detained in the first place?
You see, the law would always give you a right. The law will give you anything to do, but you must exercise it within the confines, that discretion. Now, the discretion to grant bail or not is given to you. There is already a perception that you are incompetent. There is a perception saying that they should be removed. And yet the same person who is purported to have been giving the instruction for his detention, there is no officer who can detain or ask that Martin Peebles should be detained within the OSP without the knowledge of the special prosecutor. That's why I'm saying that if it is the special prosecutor who has given that instruction that he should be detained, it is not good for him.
Well,
it will become a huge blot on his career. And two, if it is the case that he is not the one who asked for him to be arrested, and it is the policemen on the premises, under who do the policemen on the premises, who do they report to? If they report to IDP directly, why are they on that facility, on that premises? And if they are the ones who purported to do this, that they are being obstructed, how do you come under the OSP Act? If it is the police who works under the IDP. And I'm saying that this matter will have to look into it. The police must look into the conduct of the policemen. If indeed they arrested without the express instruction of the special prosecutor.
And is it the case that the officers can act on their own on a matter like this? I mean, as sensitive as this, without prior direction or authorization from the top?
That's the missing link, how to connect the nexus. Because in one breath, what intelligence I'm having is that from my sources, it is saying that OSP is denying that he instructed that he should be arrested, that it was the policemen. And I'm saying it was the policemen who are on the premises. We need to look at it. So there's a missing link. And I'm saying that nobody within that premises or presence of that office can arrest anybody without the knowledge of the special prosecutor. And this is a developing story. It's unfolding, and I'm sure the law gives them only 48 hours. So he can choose to detain Martin Peebles for 48 hours. We have been practicing this for years. He will not die, but at the end of the day, that will mark the beginning of your end, because it's going to be a huge blot on his career, because already it's going to heighten the suspicion and mistrust that you have something to hide, and the man wants to expose you. That is why you think that you will give him such a treatment.
Lawyer Victor Kojoga Adawudu, I thank you very much for joining us, and do appreciate your thoughts on this matter. And we're picking up some information, so stay with us. And this is some breaking news coming through right now here on our continuous coverage of this development. We have got some updates coming through right now that there has been an intervention and Martin Pebble will be released from counterback shortly. So stay with us. This is one that is coming through right now. And this is the breaking news coming through right now. And so this is one we're going to be updating you shortly. But this is it. We from our sources close to the action as it's playing out, there has been an intervention right now as we speak. Martin Pebble, our sources say that the National Intelligence Bureau has been instructed to release Martin Pebble from custody. That's the information we're getting right now. So that is the latest to this. Francis Xavier also is a private legal practitioner. He's also a member of parliament for the Medina constituency. Council, good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, good evening, Alfred, and good evening to your cherished listeners.
Great. Now, so, well, this is the latest to it. There's been an intervention that Martin Pebble should be released from the NIB facility where he's being held right now. But the many who we've spoken to tonight say this shouldn't have happened in the first place. You hold that view?
Absolutely. And I'm super disappointed in what happened tonight. I mean, we cannot live in a country like that. What has Martin Pebble done? The OSP is supposed to be investigating corruption and corruption-related matters. If Martin Pebble makes any statement you feel it's wrong, defamatory, whatever, the options are there. If you suspect that he's committed any crime, you report to police, so police can do arrest. You can't invite the person to your premises, and right after the premises, the person is going to interview, then right in front of media, then you get him arrested, and then to an unknown location. This obviously should not happen at all. Not under this administration, because His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, as we know, is a man of law and a man of rule of law, and so this is a big indictment on that office right now. And I think that it should be the very last. You cannot guard people and stop them from expressing their views or criticizing your institution just because, I mean, you are the office of the OSC. Honestly, I'm very disappointed.
See, now, to the extent that this went through right from the Special Prosecutor's Office and he was taking, or he's been taken to the facility at the National Intelligence Bureau, prior to we having this information, his lawyers, even his lawyers did not know his whereabouts, creating all this
Alfred,
vacuum.
This is completely, Alfred, this action is completely needless. It's completely needless. Not only is it needless, it's also lawless. In a free democratic society, every institution of state, paid by the state money and paid by public money, paid by taxpayers' money, is subject to criticism. And we must understand that clearly. We cannot create we cannot say it in any other better way than that. So for me, what is going on with the Office of Special Prosecutor, in fact, today on the floor of Parliament, I raised this matter. I raised this matter so strongly on the floor of Parliament today because my concern was that why would you even invite a citizen just because the citizen makes any allegation against you? Your mandate does not extend to you inviting citizens for making allegations against you. Your corruption, you are supposed to investigate corruption. And it is corruption of public officials. If a citizen makes any statement against you, anything that you have issues with the statement, there are several legal bases or legal ways you can deal with that. One of them does not include you inviting the citizen to get him arrested or to question him. You will become like a judge in your own court, and it violates the rules of natural justice. And so there is no basis for that invitation at all.
See, now, but then it was quite clear. Will such an action be taken without any direct orders from the top hierarchy of the Special Prosecutor's Office, that these police officers attached?
Honestly speaking, see, let's call a spade, and not a big fork or a big spoon. There is no way anybody can convince me that this action cannot be attributed to the Special Prosecutor. After all, in law, there's something called occupier's liability. Who occupies that premises? Who would have allowed policemen to come to that premises without permission of the Special Prosecutor? And then those police officers that came there, by what warrant did they come there? When they got there, they wanted to arrest Martin. What did they say was his crime? What was the crime they told him that he's committed before they were whisking him away? Please, we should stop that. It's not right. And we cannot condone this. In fact, we can't condone this one. If I am Martin tomorrow, I'm suing for wrongful arrest. This is completely wrong.
You're going to sue for unlawful arrest if by...
Of course. What is the basis for the arrest? I've been invited to come and provide information. First of all, the invitation, if I were Martin, I wouldn't have honored that invitation in the first place. Not because I'm an anti-establishment, because I don't see the basis for that invitation. If you think that I've said something, you need information, I can provide you with the information. In fact, I can send your men, they have investigated, they can come to me and provide the information to them. You know, I'm not the subject of your investigation under the OSP Act in the first place. And so when you invite me to your facility, and then as soon as I finish with you, I'm going and I'm arrested by police officers, how do you want me to interpret that?
Would you expect some these questions you're asking, and all of us have been asking, all the people who've been speaking to tonight have been asking the OSP, would you expect that tomorrow there should be some answers or some information from the special prosecutor
Honestly speaking,
as to exactly why this happened?
Not only answers. I think this forms a very good basis for the Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee, in which I also serve as a member, to hold the OSC back to Parliament and then question the OSC, the circumstances under which that happened and why that should even happen in the first place.
The Parliament should take interest in this matter, this development that we're saying now. That is one you're going to take. You're going to take charge of.
Parliament is the house of the people. If you touch one, you touch all. Any Ghanaian who is exercising his free right, who has not breached any law, cannot be subject to such what Martin is being subjected to. And for me, there is no way I will ever condone it. There is no way I will ever support it. We shall condemn it, and where necessary, we will provide assistance and even sue, and so that the right of Martin shall be protected, just like any other citizen of Ghana.
I see. But then there are already questions about why the OSP as an office should even be investigating the allegations that Martin Pebo leveled against that same office. Questions have been raised about if the allegations were against the office and the special prosecutor within that office, it shouldn't be that same office investigating itself. Is it one that you will share?
Alfred, this was the same question I posed to the OSC when he appeared in Parliament last week, when he came to Parliament for us to consider their estimate. I said, if allegations are made against you, you cannot investigate yourself in the first place, because you'll be a judge in your own cause. So if you think that allegations are so damning that you want the truth of the allegation, you can refer this matter to Iyoko, for example. And Iyoko can invite Martin to provide the evidence that Martin has. Because Martin is not the subject of investigation here. You are. So it's a different issue that must invite Martin to provide that evidence. And then you, the OSC, then go to answer to those evidence. It's not the other way around. Otherwise, we are changing the jurisprudence. We are turning the law around. And this is what I expressed in my book titled Guilty Until Proven Innocent. So, honestly, we cannot accept it. This is unacceptable.
There's a clear concern about the modus operandi of the, not just the special prosecutor, but we've seen instances where the same modus have been employed, that persons who are invited for questioning are either taken to unknown locations and even their lawyers cannot find them. Is it one that would also get your attention as Constitutional, Legal, Parliamentary Affairs Committee?
Well, I think it should. If we want to provide a proper oversight over the justice system. And I think that some of these things may even form a basis for even filing parliamentary questions to the Attorney General to come and explain to Parliament and the people of Ghana why institutions or agencies under him will be acting this way. Honestly speaking, it is not in good taste, and we cannot accept it.
See, and you raised a question on the floor of Parliament earlier today, and in fact we played that. We played your video before you joined us, when you were debating the budgetary allocation to the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Yes, that allocation has been approved, but then what are the specific questions that you ask of the office and the functioning of the office in the scheme of the fight against corruption?
Well, there were two things I said. I said that, one, in fighting corruption, it is not only about prosecutions, it's also about savings. So on that score, we have to commend the OSP for the work he's done so far, because he's made sufficient savings in some of the cases that he had been handling. And for me, I was convinced that the OSP was doing a great job when it comes to those cases. Because when you look at the amounts that he was saving for the nation in those corruption-related investigations, I was satisfied. Then secondly, I took note of the fact that while people are always in a hurry for prosecution, sometimes prolonged investigations also help in establishing, cases that people cannot, that are watertight, that people cannot escape from. So sometimes, let's not be too much in a hurry to say that by all means, let's just prosecute when investigations are still ongoing and recoveries are being done. And some of those whose recoveries are being done from may even be the best people to point out to others who are involved in similar crimes and so on and so forth. When you rush to prosecute them, you don't get those lists anymore. So for me, I was satisfied with that. However, what I wasn't satisfied with the fact that when the office of the OSP is criticized, and I specifically mentioned Matikebu, and allegations raised against the OSP, it is not a duty of the OSP to go and investigate itself. Otherwise, you give wrong perception to the public. And that was where I take issues. And guess what? Less than 2-3 hours down the line, it is playing right in our faces.
And clearly, with not just you, with many we've spoken to tonight, you would agree that the action that has been taken is or has been described as an unpopular one amongst many Ghanaians.
Yeah. It's completely needless. It doesn't. I don't want to use some words, but it's okay.
Well, I thank you. We're looking closely at also the indication that we got earlier and how things will play out. Thank you for joining us. Francis Xavier Sosu is private legal practitioner and member of parliament for the Medina constituency. And we're transiting into Ghana tonight now. We've been staying the steam on this breaking news over the last almost 3 hours now. And this is all about Martin Pebu, private legal practitioner. His whereabouts being confirmed now. There's a play out of events which we're focusing on quite closely, and we'll be updating you every step of the way. Welcome to Ghana Tonight.
Ghana Tonight is brought to you by Flamingo Paint. Superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage, simply superior.
Sasso insecticide spray and coil.